Randy just might be technically retarded.
No, click on. Fuck, I'll go to fucking Randy. I'll fix his camera.
What? Yeah, I know. I saw. Yeah. I was surprised. Oh wait, is this outcomes whatever? Oh fuck. Wrong way. Yeah, that's on top.
That is how you use the force.
Oh fuck. Wrong way. Yeah, that's on top.
You could have just knocked.
That is how you use the
Spent
force.
hours in the arcade.
I'll remember that a little later.
Identification. That's not issued from the brilliant engineer we were sent to rescue, Master.
What's she to you?
She's the reason I'm here. This doesn't have to get messy. Let her go, and I'll be on my way.
You eliminated my old rival, Argo. That inclines me toward gratitude. But this girl tried to rob me. That's bad for business.
Charging 50,000 credits for 100 thermal detonators? That's robbery.
You also insulted my mother.
I said she's uglier than a bantha wearing lipstick. It's not an insult if it's true.
Lol.
My mother died putting me on a putting me on a putting me on a
Am I allowed to spectate the game?
One sec. Wait for Lars57736 to join, and then you guys can pick teams.
Am I allowed to spectate the game?
Yes. Yes. I have to get all the teams set up first so that we can have room to do it.
Well, I can just spectate through the right click to spectate. I guess that'd probably be quicker and easier.
That would be easier.
Can we go into chapter and play all chapters?
Alright, now I actually play seriously.
I'm currently game host. Do you want me to pass it over to anyone?
That's fine. You can keep it. Who is talking to Joshua?
Teams.
Yes. We need to move. Shit.
Who is what elo was Lars on his main?
I'm pretty sure that's his main.
Ash Bucket.
Yeah.
What elo is Ash Bucket on his or her main?
I'm not ranked.
Okay. Were you ranked last season?
No, I wasn't playing last season. I'm here because y'all needed people.
Okay. Hmm.
Wait, Ash Buckets. If you don't want to if you don't want to play or you're just like filling, I have a fifth person that can play.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Who has lead? Text Joshua. Can you invite Van Camp?
Oh. Garrett?
Yeah, he's like silver 4, right? Silver 2.
I thought Garrett was like gold or something.
So it's not over gold 5. It's fine.
Maybe different Garrett.
Spell it out in the.
I did.
Yeah, it's cut off chat. Oh, he's silver 1.
That's fine. Accept. Where is Garrett here? I think we're good. Garrett, accept the invite. Is everyone in Discord?
Let's see. Oh, we balanced silver 3, silver 3, silver 4, bronze 4. How good is Lars? Let's see. Okay, Lars is, let's see, probably around gold, silver level.
Drop Lars with Texas Josh. Wait, no, Texas Josh was support main. Lars can top.
Yeah, it's,
Hello.
no, Lars is a support
Wait,
main.
who? I already have 10. Jungle here. Fuck. I'm trying to decide if I move a Maz with Texas Joshua. I know Car 45 supports, Texas Joshua supports. So I'll swap a Maz with Lars. Amaz, go to... Is Amaz in Discord? I think he's one of the people here. Lars, go to Team 2, or go to Spectate for a second, so Amaz can go to Team 1. You what?
Oh, I'm trying to get to this one. Yeah, you just open the link. Wait, so who's Lars? I'm Lars. You're Lars. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm in there now.
Alright, can I get you to use push to talk? It's loud in here. Actually, try now.
Hello.
Alright, you just have to talk to where, yeah.
Yeah, I can talk.
Or you can put on push to talk, either one.
So push the talk.
Alright,
Figure it out.
so. Are you, can you go to their client?
Yeah.
I need you to go here, and then Amaz is gonna scream.
Invite your friends to.
Wait, who's the Amaz? You know?
He's right here.
You guys?
You guys oh, Lil. I play something. Super one.
It runs better if you download.
I need to get to gold before November, whatever. I need to have to use 3 fucking 10. It's just so close, right? I can taste it. Better than it was last year. I finished last year like silver.
You have a mic. Alright, so from your.
Dude, I think it's silver. Hopefully, if I can put it on next game. Silver 2, so 5, 2 weeks after test the next week. So next do this week. I'm gonna shoot Smash one. What do you take those? So yeah, like.
Hello.
I didn't download it. I just have it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you hear people and stuff? Mic work? Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so I need all of you guys to go to your.
Yeah, make sure your mic works too.
And you guys go to your like individual rooms. Just go to your different team rooms, and then I'll. These are going to be teams, yeah.
Hey, could I join the bronze silver? It's not too late. I'm
Bronze
bronze
silver.
I'm bronze 2.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I tried inviting you earlier, but you weren't here, so I had to fill your spot.
Yeah, I wasn't. It's okay. Can I try in the silver gold?
I might get you in game 2, unless someone wants to drop.
Okay.
Hey, Khalil, what happened to our moving powers, man? Damn.
Cole, let me see if I can find someone that Let me see if I can find someone that wants to drop, and we might be able to squeeze
Yo,
you in.
you move me again, I'ma fuck you up, right, kiddo?
Did I
There's
move
like
you?
a gold 5 in there.
Yeah,
Can
you
I
see,
play for
Jay's
him?
more black
He can
than
play the
you.
gold
So
one?
Jay can fuck you up.
Yeah,
Just
I'm asking
saying.
if they want to swap.
Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to teach you how to play Overwatch, dude. And you're not listening.
Oh, I forgot Khalil doesn't have the Overwatch beta, you know, unlike the rest of us.
Yeah. Nah, like, oh my god.
You
Brady,
actually
you
have to
here?
know someone
Brady,
at
how do you like
Blizzard
the
in order to get
Overwatch
to you.
beta? Isn't it amazing?
It's pretty
Nah, to
fun.
be honest, though, it's like they're sending out waves of 2,000 a day. So it's like
Oh, really?
barely any players are gonna get it. Yeah, but dude, like 2,000. It sounds like a lot, not a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
So
How did they base it? Like, I play Hearthstone a lot, and I got masters in StarCraft. Like, I got top 2% Hearthstone in October. Like, it's
oh,
obvious
what
I
rank?
play.
That's ranked 1, right? Or rank 2?
I think it
I
doesn't
got
matter. Like,
I was
I don't
ranked. I was ranked 3 at the end. I was like top.
The only things that matter whenever they're picking are if you're a streamer, they want to go for big influence people that like influence the game.
Cole,
Yeah,
so
I
you can
like
join.
that. Like, is
yeah,
everyone?
no,
Okay,
no,
sweet.
no.
I'm gonna join.
Yo, Joshua, can you invite the Cole?
Sure thing.
That better?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Tex and Trav, where do you guys go?
Tex here, I mean support.
Oh, that's right. You said that. I'm sorry. Lars and Trav Dog. Okay.
So who's going? Oh, hello.
Hey, we're missing one, Khalil. We still don't.
Who are you
We're
missing?
missing. Lars isn't in the room.
Lars is in the room. Oh, I'll drag him. There.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright.
Get up since they're not talking.
Oh, he just moved back out. And mute definitely. Like, what's he doing? There we go.
Is my outbound picking up a shit ton?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Andy.
Yes. Oh, it works now?
Yeah.
All right. I guess I did something.
Burst fire, like just click, like really fast, like shoot it, and try not to move your cursor while you're doing it. Just have it like kind of.
I'll just increase my outbound. That should make it better.
That's the whole purpose. Like, okay.
So Arcadia plays mid, 2 of you guys play support, 1 of you guys plays jungle. One of the supports will need to go top, and I'll just AD carry.
Alright, I have never topped in my life, so...
I could top and play Riven if one of you guys can mid.
Well,
like, if one of you guys are winning the mid, and it's not a shame match for Riven, I can just go Riven top. Like, if you really want. Because they're probably going to ban, like, LeBlanc and Zed away from me anyway. But, actually, now I think of it, the last 2 games...
Hey, Khalil. Randy has his mic working now. I'm the god of tech support because I'm. God.
Okay. Hopefully my mic doesn't pick up the people next to me.
Okay. I don't think everyone's
Khalil, how about you just use push to talk?
Oh, that's awkward.
Then ask. Fuck! I need to find who the 5th person is then.
Yeah.
I need a 10th person.
You
legged me.
Oh, we got banned these.
It's only one shot from body up. You leg me, it's 85. You can. I'm letting you get it. And you call out when you get it, then we play the round.
Alright, I'll actually be gone eating, so Randy, shoot me a text or something, you know.
For what?
If Khalil actually decides to start us on time.
Here,
I'm gonna go eat and have my ribs.
If only you knew how long I was actually following you.
Okay, does Team 1 know know what roles everyone's playing?
Yeah.
Wait, who's going 80 carry?
Hey, wait. Khalil, what's your third mid lane?
Wait, so Garrett.
Garrett's mic isn't working.
Okay.
Oh, one sec. Do you guys know what roles you guys are playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright.
Yes.
Alright, I'm confident you guys will figure it out.
Allah.
Wait. Okay. Wait, Savvy, where are you going?
Okay, I got it early.
Guess I'll ban Aura? Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay, sorry, fucking stream. There's a lot of people here. This is a little unorganized because people did not show up when they said that they would. So if you're in the gold game, you're gonna be playing after this. Zach, is there like a fuck ton of background noise? Like that would kind of defeat the purpose of me doing this. Gold game, you're gonna be playing after this. I think my microphone gate is actually fine.
push to talk.
All right, I'm back.
Well, I mean, push to talk isn't gonna help me on OBS. That's just gonna
that's true.
my gate is just gonna my microphone nose gate's just gonna have to be better. Test. Test.
I'm going back again.
You can hear
Test.
some noise from it, but
I think I got it
is
fixed.
it possible to record the whatever works that way? I was thinking of it using Discord as a separate input and output device, and just mute it the main one whenever you want to talk. But
Okay, this works. I just fixed it, I think.
All right, so they did ban again.
Looking at it, a lot of OPs, you commonly see in competitive places, Mordekaiser, Gangplank, Lulu, they're not banned. And one of the reasons why is, at a lower level, it's a lot harder to execute those champions better. And if you execute them champions...
I still think Tom Kent should be banned. He's
Tom Kent
reportedly broken.
So when Riot balances a game, what I want to do is to alleviate poor plays, they keep on buffing your base stats. And eventually it gets to a point where a champion has such insane base stats, such as Tom Kent, that he becomes OP. Or becomes very strong. We've seen that in Worlds. I don't see how this works, because Tom can also be used as a flex pick. He can go top, he can go jungle. He's gone mid before, he can go support. We'll see how that works out.
Vi is not a very strong pick right now, just because she can't really duel most of the popular champions right now, and Vi used to be such a good duelist, and then her engage is just so one-dimensional, and it's good if they have a specific team comp, but I don't know, I just don't like her right now.
And also the thing with competitive play, if you pick Vi, you need to have a Morgana. You have to have the Morgana picked or banned, because Morgana
and Tom Kent, honestly.
Yeah, Morgana or Tom, because they completely counter-initiated Vi's entire purpose. For example, if Vi ults someone who gets eaten, the ult kind of just fizzles away. It's not the most effective. And also, the person gets away with no damage, no CC. But Vi also has the potential of, if you get ahead early, especially in a lower queue game, and people can't coordinate as well, Vi can get to your back line and destroy it. So it's kind of a balance between to see how that works out.
She also just doesn't have very much pressure before 6 either, but since the other team picked Diana jungle, it's not like they do either.
Yeah, for example, if you have an Elise gives an insane amount of pressure.
Elise is stupid. I don't like Elise.
I still have PTSD from that game. So going back to blue team's pick, we see Tristana, and I'm pretty sure it's going to changed.
Nope, we got a Teemo.
Tristana and a Teemo.
I would not suggest picking Teemo unless you already know the matchup, because Teemo is Teemo can be a really good laner, but he falls off hard late game, and if you're not decimating your lane, then he's completely useless.
Yeah. He provides a lot of map control, yes.
But kind of confused about their picks, and by kind of I mean
I'm also really confused on why Khalil balanced the two teams that have two support mains on one side, because Lars and Texas Joshua are both support mains.
Well, the reason is that there are two bronze players on.
Okay.
There are two bronze players on blue team, so I needed to put someone on purple team that was not in a role that they main. I mean, Bandcamp silver 1, Jimmy Cricket silver 2, Cry 45's gold 5, and there's 2 gold players on purple team.
So going back to their pick comp, you see Braum and Malphite. Randy, what do you think about that?
Hear me anymore?
You can't hear you back then, but now you're good. So can you repeat that? Because I'm not sure if Khalil heard you there.
Okay, basically I would say that against this team, it's decent just because, right now, purple team does not have very much damage, but right now, blue team does not have any tank at all. Vi can be a little bit tanky. And I mean, it gives them good wombo, but the problem is, right now, they have Lucian Braum, which is a lane bully. You're gonna shit on the other lane, probably. But then you have Diana and Malphite, both of which don't apply pressure at all, and then Malphite loses lane pretty hard generally. Or at the very least, he doesn't have kill pressure in lane.
Oh, especially against Rise.
Teemo or Rise, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Malphite, I would say Malphite has a better time against Teemo than he has against Rise. But both of those matchups is a very difficult one for matchup, especially Rise. If you don't have jungle pressure, once you hit 6, you're going to be forever zoned or start dying.
I'm not sure. Is that might be Irelia mid?
If it's Irelia mid, I'll send Rise mid. Or it could be Yasuo, could be... It's probably going to be Assassin. Alright, you see that Yasuo... Khalil. So does Yasuo do better against Rise or does it do better against Teemo?
Okay,
Because I'm pretty
so
sure it's going to be Teemo.
actually, laning against Teemo would be better for Yasuo. It can get abused really easily if you don't know what you're doing and you don't play around your passive. You could see Yasuo feeding really hard against Teemo, but you get a point at which Teemo is just gonna die. I mean, as long as you win wall the blinding dart, you'll win all ins against Teemo. If you don't win wall blinding dart, Teemo can potentially kill you. The thing that's going to be annoying is running around before you have any sustain and stepping on Teemo shrooms and being low getting into fights. Like, I like purple teams comp a lot more just because, like, the picks are better, the comp is better. If blue team had, like, a Zed mid lane against Yasuo, it would be much better. But, I mean, there's a possibility that Cry45 straight up just harasses the fuck out of Yasuo and destroys him.
I think the Vi pick right now is really stupid. Like, he has absolutely no synergy with the rest of the picks because, like, Janna, Tristana, Teemo are all about kiting and poking down and, like, establish. It's basically, that's all about, like, sieging a tower, and Vi is like, I'm gonna dive you. So, like, there's absolutely no synergy there. And then the other team's comp, like, is basically, like, oh, we're gonna Malphite ult you, and then Yasuo ult you, and we are all gonna jump on your backline.
I mean, at the same time, when you really want to look, when you look at you can kind of see the idea of what they were trying to get to, because you have like a sustain in the bot lane, and at the same time you have good tower pushing pressure. The Teemo is basically going to be like a McCash Dollar, as far as what I'm feeling like, where you play Teemo mid and kind of like keep this Diana from really getting close and provide vision, if that's the idea that they're going for.
Diana's jungle.
Oh, sorry, yeah, against the Diana jungle. Yeah, sorry. The Teemo shrooms can like basically it helps as a ward in that sense, but honestly, like I feel like the idea was that okay, we're gonna pick Vi first, and yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and join in on that then.
Because like right now, if you're talking,
is it echoing? Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, I'll start it up. But yeah, like I feel like what they want to go for is like some form of CC or slow for each, and then Vi goes for a hard lock, and they're just gonna go for like a type of pick comp. But if they were going for a pick comp, I would have definitely suggested something other than Janna, because she kind of aims for like a disengage to a certain.
And like to look at their team is good for one thing, is sieging and doing a siege kite comp. And to do a siege kite comp, you just need champion to synergize with that. You have Rise, you have Janna. Swap out Vi for Gragas, or swap out Vi for Lee Sin, or pick up Rek'Sai, and then you pick up a zone control mid, such as Azir or Victor, and so you have a crazily strong team composition.
See, one thing that if purple team recognizes this, then like I don't think blue team stands any chance unless they decimate their lanes. Is that
fucking Robert?
What?
Sorry.
But basically, right now, if purple team like wants to contest something like Baron or wants to contest something like Dragon, blue team can't do anything, like at all, because they're just squishy, and then they couldn't really group up at all because they would have to they would be against the super wombo combo, and like Janna can't protect the back line that well from this team comp, but like they basically it's just like Vi is gonna try to go in by herself, and then Rise is gonna kind of be behind her. So I think the only way I can really see blue team winning this is if they get Rise ahead early, which against a Malphite is entirely possible. So I'd like to see Vi camping top, essentially. Kind of like Grant camping top against a Gangplank.
Yeah, but it's also
are you trying to trigger us during this game?
He's not going to die as easily. He's a lot more tankier.
Against a Rise early, Like I think they can easily punish him.
Yeah, definitely. But for runes and masteries, do you guys go through runes and masteries? I guess we forgot about that. But I will have something written up for you guys towards the end of the
Oh
game.
no, you.
So.
Oh yeah, you're right. We should have done that already.
As you see, Khalil's not here. You know, we gotta take
No, I'm
over
here.
for him.
Nerd.
Yeah, Doug. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go have some ribs. I'll be back in like 20 minutes.
I'll take your place, Johnny.
Sweet.
Wait, Johnny, can you take my place and I eat the ribs? Can that work?
It's being posted on the main screen. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and start with Vi's runes masteries. Vi is running red health marks. This triggers me. Running health is not good on reds because the way that marks, seals, and gloves and quintessences generally work is that if you're using marks... What's up?
Or in the jungle in general, you really don't need health.
You want flat armor more
Yeah.
than anything else because you want to survive each individual hit from each
And
camp.
junglers tend to have really high, like they have high base stats. That's why they are able to be played jungle.
Yeah, so if you're running your marks or whatever, for your marks you want to generally run AD. And in some junglers you can use your attack speed. So since you're running attack speed quints, you probably want to go AD marks. Yellows, armor is fine. Health is not bad, but since you want the tankiness against for your clear, you want to run armor. For glyphs, magic resist per level is fine. I hope the speakers aren't picking this up.
I hope so as well. It's pretty loud though. Is there any way we can turn that volume down? Ask Andrew. All right.
For the young Timothy, magic penetration is fine, armor is fine. I can't tell if Timothy, I can't tell if Timo is going top or if he's going mid. So armor is fine against Yasuo.
I think Timo's going mid.
He's going mid for sure. So yeah, armor's fine. Going 21-1-8 is not fine. You should really be putting that point in either Runic Affinity or Culinary Master. That gives you either the buff increase duration, which is good for blue buff, good for red buff if you get it too on Teemo actually. And then Culinary Master is also good because it gives you a little more survivability and it gives you extra mana whenever you eat it. For Rise... Oh, and general rule of thumb, never go 9 points in anything, or never go 1 point and then 8 points in anything. You should always go 9 points in your secondary tree.
So for Tristana, like your runes are fine. That's pretty standard. A lot of people, especially if you're against a lane like Braum, Braum Lucian, who don't have much magic damage, then you'd run scaling MR instead of just flat MR, but it's not a huge deal. But mastery-wise, you should go 21-9-0. You shouldn't go 23-4-3. Like, it's just, the movement speed is not that important on Tristana at all. And then it's very nice, it allows you to trade a lot better against Lucian if you have, especially the flat damage reduction from the defensive tree. And then, I mean, you don't really need the, basic, it's in Chinese, Korean, something right now, so I can't read it. But the 2 points in the offensive tree that increase your spell damage from your basic attacks and vice versa. As you just don't really need that on Tristana.
I know how to play Janna.
And then Lucian, the only thing I would say is that running some attack speed on AD carries is very useful because it allows you to trade more often, and it's much easier to CS, and it's just basically the main thing it does is it allows you to poke the laner a lot more easily.
One more thing on the young Rise, I didn't really touch on it, but usually on Rise, instead of running flat ability power for your Quints, you want to go movement speed, because Rise Ryze is a very immobile mage. It couples really well with his ultimate, and it helps him go in and out for trades a lot more easily. That inability power isn't that good on Ryze. Movement speed, or not movement speed, mana typically is. I mean, it's not ability power is bad, but using it for Quince isn't very good. For his masteries, they are okay. Going into Yasuo, it looks like. Yasuo's running 8 attack speed, 1 crit chance, flat magic resist, flat health, lifesteal. These are good runes. There's a lot of things you can do with your marks or your reds, but that's generally pretty good. I'm a cheater and I run move speed on Quince, but lifesteal is also like standard, so there's nothing wrong with that. Masters are good. What's up?
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
One thing that I would do is drop the 3 points in Warlord for Spell Weaving, Blade Weaving, and then Butcher and Feast. Take the 1 point out of Fury, so it's 3 of 4. Because 5% AD is nice, but when you're talking about like 300 attack damage, 5% ends up being like 15 AD compared to a flat 3% increase on spells and basic attacks. Plus the sustain from Feast is really good.
Okay, for Diana, you don't want to run magic penetration marks if you are jungling, just because it's like basically pointless. So you generally run attack speed marks on Diana just because it scales extremely well with your. Basically, for jungling, you want to make your clear as best as possible so you can get items faster. So like you want to take attack speed marks, and then you flat AP is fine. Movement speed, or for Quince, flat AP would be fine. Movement speed would be fine. More attack speed would be fine. Like flat AP for that is completely fine. But then you also want to take scaling MR when you're in the jungle, just because I think. 1 second. Just because it is about level like 8 or 9 is whenever your glyphs, if you're running scaling MR glyphs, then that's about the time whenever it equals the flat, and you're not really going to generally use it very much early game, so it's just a lot better to have the like twice as much bonus MR from your runes from running the scaling, since you are not going to be poked in lane, and that the MR doesn't really help you very much in the jungle at all. So I would suggest running scaling instead of flat.
Also, if you're doing Diana jungle, what I suggest is not running magic penetration, but running attack speed. So running magic penetration is good in lane because it helps you trade pretty well. If you're using magic,
that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, you said okay, my bad.
And then also 21-9 is better than 21-0-9 in the jungle, just because you have a lot healthier of a clear, and then like the 20% increase duration of the buffs is good on the jungler. The problem is it's better to have a better clear, especially since late game. I mean, I guess you have Yasuo, so you're not going to want to give over your blue buff and stuff, but it's not that important. So I would say 21-9 is better than 21-0-9.
I can't pull up Lars's masteries or his runes, but
yeah, Malphite's not working for me either.
I think you generally want to go like, do you go 9-21-0 or 0-21-9, Randy, for Malphite?
Honestly,
I would say 9-21.
Because you don't benefit as much from the utility tree due to the fact that like if you have like out of combat move speed and mana regen, it's not really that big of a deal. Looking at him, he went for shield, so I think having a little bit of damage would help a lot during the laning phase, considering that his Q will allow him to like run up and harass rather efficiently. So we'll have to see where it goes from there.
And then on Braum, I completely disagree with 0-28 masteries. I think you should, you basically have 2 options as Braum, or actually you have 3 options. You can go 0-21-9 and just be super tanky, or you can go 0-16-14, and it's basically, just look up that page because it takes very specific ones, and that's what I tend to generally use on tankier supports. Or you can go 0-9-21 if you are more looking for this like support like masteries. But you should definitely, at the very least, take the 9 points in the defensive tree to get the basic damage reduction and to get that health, just because you're going to be frontlining and it's just a lot more useful than a couple more points in utility.
Okay, so we got a 5-man invade here from purple team going in, from red team against blue. Vi's getting challenged on. If they can get the fourth, they can stop her. But I mean, like the thing is like you couldn't really expect this because due to the state of the matchup and whatnot. I honestly am not a big fan of this invade because there's not very much in the way of CC. Like for example, if
I disagree. I would say if you have Braum, especially against the other team, because the other team doesn't have any CC. The problem is how they went about the invade. I didn't like.
Right. Yeah. That's what I say. Like normally, like because since Braum has such a long queue, he doesn't really necessarily need to be exactly in the front. They need someone else who can like actually push up. At the same time, I would have recommended that Yasuo did go E because he could actually dash close on the Vi, possibly burn a flash, anything of that sort. But it looks like today is the day they're going to make the jungler's life.
And then, Diana, I would only take E at level 1 if it completely guarantees that you get the kill. Because, like, it makes your clear horrible, and you don't even want to usually take that until later.
Pretty interesting.
That was not paying attention to the patience meter there actually screwed over red team really hard. So what they needed to do there was zone off Vi. I'm assuming that this is going to be a lane swap, by the way, because it doesn't make any sense for Braum and Lucian to be top otherwise. What they should have been more careful about is making sure that Diana didn't have to waste her smite like that, because since she did, Vi ended up getting level 2, and this invade doesn't hurt Vi that much. Yeah, it hurts, but it's not as bad as it would have been.
So that was not worth it at all. Like, if you would lane swap, that would have been like kind of worth it because Malphite could have teleported bot, but that's not even remotely worth it because you just lost basically maybe 3 waves, at the very least 2 waves, and their bot lane is level 2, and Lucian Braum is a very strong lane, so you just handicapped yourself and probably made you lose the lane because for basically stealing their blue buff, which, I mean, you didn't even ward your own blue, so right now Vi is taking blue buff, so they basically, blue side just lost absolutely nothing for that.
I mean, another thing to take notice of is that even though, like, when they got their free lanes, blue team, in the macro scheme of things, they should have just frozen the wave, because when you do that, you still gain the same amount of levels because you're still going to naturally lose waves, but at the same time, you can group up and force a huge minion wave into tower, or either that or hold it such that red team has to come in and fight you in the middle of the lane, and so therefore you at least have a 1.5 level advantage, and you do have an extra ability to push on them, to put pressure on them. As you can see right now, red team's getting zoned out quite a little bit. They're not really able to apply any pressure. Like,
at this point, every single lane on red team should just lose now. Ryze had a level advantage on Yasuo. That's not a matchup in Yasuo's favor to begin with. Malphite's getting zoned really hard by Teemo in the top lane, and that lane is not going to get any easier. A lane swap by red team actually would have been very smart in this situation. Granted, you can say that Braum and Lucian would do very well against Tristana's Janna, but at the same time, Malphite's not going to be able to CS against Teemo ever.
Yeah. I wouldn't say the lane swap, just because you can stall under tower, and then once Malphite gets some items, then like, yeah, it's an awful matchup, and Teemo's going to be way ahead in gold, but Teemo also doesn't have any kill pressure against Malphite that's under tower, even if Vi ganks him.
Well, I mean, but this plays into, like, the mistake that they made earlier on. I mean, Lucian and Braum are never going to be able to pressure Tristana Janna at this point. Lucian and Braum is strong, but Tristana and Janna's not bad. And so, if they had lane swap, Malphite could have just double jumped with Diana, teleported bot lane, and Lucian and Braum would have been in position to go ahead and, like, start farming instead of being as blind as they are.
Teemo right there, and Dynamis Q, but will she get the E? And Flash is blown by Teemo. Can they complete? Oh, are they actually gonna dive this though? Ooh, that's a little bit ambitious right there. Ignite is burned by Teemo, so now he has no summoners. But honestly, like the whole, oh my gosh, this is Zane himself right here. But yeah, when you really look at it, that was, I honestly would say that was a decent gank, because even though they force him into the tower and he still farms, but Teemo now no longer has summoners. So what I want to see in the next few minutes is Diana to complete her run of the jungle back, get some items, and then come back and hit Teemo again, because at this point he has no summoners, he has no way of actually getting out of a gank. Bot lane's still doing pretty well. Let's see, there's 35 to 22. I mean, that's not too bad considering for Lucian there, considering they were out of the lane for about 2 waves, give or take.
I mean, honestly, you can chalk most of this up to the very, very poorly played level 1 by red side.
I mean, another thing was they didn't get to press the advantage of actually stealing Gromp because there were so many people there.
Well, they didn't even steal Gromp.
Oh,
because
they
Vi
still got it.
smited it, so like
Ah,
literally
okay,
all they got was blue buff. And
I did not see that.
Yeah, no, so like there's absolutely nothing that.
Okay, looks like Vi's moving up for a gank here. There is actually no vision, but honestly, the lane's pushing, and you know, I think right there, Rise probably shouldn't have tried to cheat towards him, but at this point, the way it's pushing, if anything, Vi should just go ahead and just try and like put pressure on the map elsewhere. See if any lanes are pushing, or if anything, start warding up the jungle and put some pressure on Diana. Should definitely be at a deficit to a certain.
Oh, Vi, you should not buy longsword before you upgrade your machete. Like upgrading a machete is just better because like I don't know, it's just better. You should do that before you get a longsword.
Oh wow, Diana only just now cleared blue buff. She only just now killed the camp, so now it only puts her. Oh, she's going in with a flash. And
that's a good
That was a
dive
very good
from-
dive by Vi.
That was a very good dive.
Yasuo, I don't know if Yasuo's wind wall was up, but he should have tried to wind wall there whenever he saw a Vi flash. I don't know if
He wind walled earlier against.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he wind walled earlier.
So you guys already talked about masteries and shit
And Yasuo should have already teleported by now if he's going to use teleport to get to lane. Like, if he's not, then I guess it's
Yeah,
fine.
if he's not. I mean, he
I
might
guess
lose
he's-
out on half of his next wave, possibly, at this rate. And there's a big trade down.
Honestly,
the
I think what I would like to see from red side is once Malphite's teleport is up, then you're just going to try to force dragon fight, or maybe force tower on, like maybe force bot tower or something like that. Just use the TP because Teemo doesn't have TP, and like Malphite can't do anything against Teemo at this point.
Malphite's just getting punished so heavily right now.
I mean, honestly, right now, what I would have liked to see from the lane is to have Malphite just ulted right there, and he actually might get the kill. No. So the thing is if Yasuo had just teleported top and waited and had told Malphite to ult Teemo, Teemo would have been dead there, 1000%. The thing with running TP mid is that you need to understand that when you're getting harassed, I mean, Yasuo was keeping up in CS with Ryze, but when he started getting low and he was no longer CSing and he was just sitting there soaking, he should have just backed and teleported back in. Ideally, you want to wait until the cannon wave shows up, and then you can just walk back to lane. But if you get pressured out like Vi dying in that gank, you should just teleport back in so you don't fall too behind in experience. Ryze has been ahead since the very beginning, and I mean, even then you could have pressured top lane or bot lane. Bot lane is actually trading fairly well for how far behind they were when they left, but that's gold lead that blue team has, like 1.5k at 9 minutes, is pretty significant.
Here. What's up?
So the entire lead that blue team has right now is coming from the kill that Teemo has and the gank that Vi did mid lane. The CS lead is not that significant, not as big as I thought it was, but one thing that I noticed with Jiminy Cricket that he does pretty consistently is that he's getting out-farmed pretty heavily. He has almost half the CS that Diana has. And granted, he did put in a gank, but when you get ahead like that and you get a kill, your wave clear goes up, and oh, there's got a gank in mid. Very good ult off of the Diana E.
I don't think Vi should have gone in just because, like, he might get the kill, but actually, I guess, I don't know.
Looking back on that, it was ultimately more of Rise kind of misplaying it over than what he had. Rise should have immediately flashed away from the initial Q, so once Diana got the Q on you, flash away from the ult, and then Diana can't gap close on you anymore. Or if she does, she blows flash, and then Yasuo is so behind. Pretty much is, Chloe, I want to see you use your flash earlier in that scenario.
Honestly, what I would like to see Red Team do right now is Malphite go B, Yasuo go B, buy some items, and then like force a dragon fight. Like you can, like if you want, you can just dive bot. Vi is rotating on there now, but like they don't have, they have 2 wards, but like blue side has 2 wards. One of them is pretty useless in terms of like Dragon just because it's on their side and it's just fired, so it's completely useless.
Nah, because going back to bot lane started out with the big deficit, right, for a red team?
Yeah, because basically, level 1, red side just had to play, they like invaded the enemy's topside jungle, and they like stayed way too long, and then they only managed to steal one camp because Vi still got a camp, and it was just very bad.
Good roam top, that's gonna be some damage, probably blown flash on Teemo. Actually, Teemo's just gonna walk away.
What time are you at, Johnny?
Yeah, I think
I'm at. Oh, I didn't guess. I'm behind.
Yeah, it's at 12. We're at 12 minutes.
Did Teemo die back there?
Yeah, we're at 12 minutes.
Alright, let me get back here. Okay, so seen their gank mid.
It's good by Jiminy Cricket to be here every time Diana's here, because in that 2v2, if Ryze has passive up, they actually win that fight. One thing that I would like to see out of Ryze when this is happening, though, is that he should really be going a lot more aggressively every time his passive's up, because he will just straight up destroy Yasuo at this point. Vi should be cognizant of that, and just wait for Ryze's pass to go up, get a binding on Yasuo, easy vial, and free kill.
Okay, one thing about Malphite is that Malphite rushed Mercury Dreads, and Mercury Dreads are not worth it. Like, they're only worth it for the CC. Like, just completely magic resistance wise, they're not worth just getting. So he maybe, like, he should have, like, getting boots 1 would be fine, but like getting an early whatever it's called, the
Spectre's Cowl.
Item, yeah, Spectre's Cowl would have been so much better than Merc Dreads. Yeah, and especially against Teemo because you just constantly have.
He can't get punished over here. Get that. That's going to be
Ryze
a
is
good
extremely strong.
Vi's not going to get away though. This might be able to get good chain CC down.
Yeah, there's no flash. Actually, no, Diana gets away.
So one thing that could have been done much better there is that.
Well, he wasn't on it. He had just used it, I think. Maybe.
The thing with Vi is that right now Vi is falling really far behind in experience. So when she started that fight, she was level 6, Diana was level 8, Yasuo was level 9. Not only was Vi going a little bit too early, which would have been fine honestly if she weren't so far behind in levels. This is the comment I was making about getting out farmed or getting not farming your jungle enough. This is where it's starting to catch up with Jiminy Cricket. If he takes his advantage, what's up?
No, you go. I'll do it after you.
One thing that if he were staying, when you get it lead, like a kill, like when you get a successful gank, especially when it's pretty much your first gank, you need to make sure that you continue to pressure not only people's lanes, but your jungle and the opponent's jungle. Before Diana was level 6, Vi could have walked into her jungle whenever she wanted to and just beat the hell out of Diana, and she couldn't really do much because her bot lane's getting pressured, her mid lane's getting pressured, her top lane's getting pressured. It could help you extend into like the higher elos, is being aware of that. Very good Malphite ult.
Yeah. But one thing I would like to see Blue Side do is coordinate between Teemo and Janna and basically just get a ton of vision using shrooms and wards in their topside jungle and just allow Teemo to because Malphite, like, if Teemo plays it right, he's not playing it right now, but if Teemo plays it right, then, like, Malphite can't do anything against him, and he can just constantly pressure topside. So, then that would basically completely open up the map, and,
Vi does not want to do what she's doing right now.
Vi needs to give up this turret right now because she's going to be dead.
Oh, and Lucian's tanking right now. Lucian's dead, actually. He's executed, which is good, but...
Surprising. Or, I guess, continue to go on with a dive.
I don't like what Ryze just did. Basically, Ryze was thinking about coming down. He decided not to. But I don't think he should have even started going down in the first place because it would have been a 3v2.
It was a clear, obviously lost turret.
Yeah, and then he could have gotten a lot of damage on mid. Like, it's Ryze, so he actually damages turrets pretty slowly. But basically, he just completely didn't use that time at all because he knew Malphite had to go B. He knew that 4 people were bot. So there was nobody coming at him mid. So he could have gotten quite a bit of damage down. He could have denied some more waves of XP for Yasuo, but then he just got nothing out of that.
So one thing that I can see potentially happening to Ryze right now is that you have this issue where you're like, oh, I dominated my lane and I lost the game. Right now, Rise has a pretty big XP lead on everyone, and he has the most CS. He probably has the most gold. Maybe not, but the thing is, like, whenever you get in a lead like that, you need to be extending into other lanes. The fact that he was staying in mid lane and didn't really get any pushing done while he was there, and also didn't roam to begin with to bot lane when he already knew mid turret was down, he has a lot of pressure that he should be using that he's not. Whenever you have a bunch of gold on you, or you're in a position to carry on your team, and you're not applying pressure with it, your team may as well not have the gold lead that it has. The same logic applies if you're dead. Whenever you die and you're the person that has all the gold in your team, you might as well subtract that from the gold lead and pretend like it doesn't exist, because you're not applying any pressure. And right now, if mid turret is down, they should be getting wards inside of the top side and bot side jungle, whichever turret that they want to pressure really. And right now that should be bot side because Dragon's up. You should be setting up vision there and getting picks. There's no reason to just sit in your lane when the turret's dead. You have this problem a lot in bot lane and lower elo. No, even in Diamond 5 actually. You have a fast tower that goes down, and then the lane wants to sit there and farm it up instead of going to another lane and pressuring it.
Okay, and another thing to point out is I really don't like this Malphite's itemization because he's against Teemo. He went Merch Red's first item, which is not very efficient against Teemo at all. And then now he is getting a Randuin's, which against Teemo it does absolutely nothing. Like, Sunfire I could kind of see. I don't think it would be optimal, but it would be significantly better than Randuin's because at least you could push the wave faster and you would have some more kill pressure against him. But basically Randuin's is a completely useless item against Teemo, and honestly the entire blue team, because Tristana it's good against, Vi it's okay against, but Rise is magic damage, Teemo's magic damage. Basically I just don't like this itemization.
Whenever you're building in top lane especially, the first item that you build typically is going to want to be a build for your lane. The laning phase typically doesn't end fast enough, assuming gold income were higher than it is right now, which it isn't. The laning phase won't end before you finish your first core item. So if he should have built his first item for his lane, and then if Tristana became a problem, then he could worry about building something specifically for Tristana. I think that for a tank, you do need to make sure that your second item itemizes against the AD carry, especially someone like Tristana who does a lot of damage. But for your first item, you should be trying to make sure that you can win your lane. And granted, Malphite isn't that far behind, but that has more to do with the fact that Teemo is not playing the matchup well, as opposed to what item you should build or what item you shouldn't.
For example,
And then I also don't like
too many tower hits.
Yeah, he takes way too many, and I don't like not having boots on Teemo right now. I think he should have gotten boots. For one, just because it allows you to poke under tower a lot better. For two, you're against a Malphite, and you can kite Malphite forever. I mean, I guess not forever, but you can kite him enough that he has to blow his ult in order to get on you.
Another thing is that I'm not a Teemo god. I'm not a huge Teemo player. But typically, whenever you have Leandries as an item, it's instead of building Leandries completely, it's better to build Haunting Guise and then building Sword Shoes, so you have 30 magic penetration, and then going for more AP oriented build and finishing Leandries later. Leandries, I mean, on Teemo it's a little different because Leandries is actually pretty good, but I would have built Sword Shoes before I finished Leandries.
Yeah, I would have gone Haunting Guise and then built Sword Shoes and then
finish Haunting Guise, yeah, or Leandries, yeah. I realized halfway through that explanation that I was talking about Teemo. So yeah, Leandries is actually super good, but getting the penetration would have been better at this phase in the game.
Although actually, I still think Stinger would have been a better first item, just because what this Teemo is trying to do right now is he's trying to apply top pressure. And right now, if he had Stinger, then for one, he could poke about the same. But then if Malphite ever tried to roam or anything, then Teemo could shred the towers, because Stinger is very good against towers. And it would give him CDR, which would allow him to ward up the map or shroom up the map more. But Leandry's a fine first item. I just don't think it's the most optimal.
Especially if you're not looking to, because you do win the lane as Teemo pretty hard if you just space your autos and harass.
Okay, one thing that's bothering me about this game is that Dragon has been up for 7 years. When you have mid turret down, you have bottom turret down. What you need to do is push the wave, make them farm at their inner turrets, and do Dragon. You typically do that when bot lane turret down.
You're also doing Dragon with 2 people in full vision. It also questions your decision of doing Dragon.
That's really dangerous. What you can do in this situation is just shove both lanes, force them to either go farm, or you can force them to just give it up.
That was a nice steal.
I don't know why Tristana was in there though. That would have been worth if people didn't die for no reason.
Yeah, that's that's 3 kills that were completely blown away. Vi Q's in and she flashes out. That's easy. And Jaina can disengage for that. And then you have your rest of your team going in, they all die. You lose 3 people.
And one more thing that's specific about this lane matchup is Teemo versus Malphite is that you're Teemo and you have dots, and Malphite's passive only works if he doesn't take damage, and it gets cancelled by dots. So like he should never have his shield up unless he's been like missing out on like a lot of farm and XP. But like you need to be aware of his shield, like of just stopping his shield from coming up, because that's like a lot of damage. And this is the power of Rise, but not actually that strong.
Or not.
Okay, okay. Actually, what happened right there is that Rise should have just straight up dumpstered Yasuo there. Whenever Yasuo walks up to the bush, just auto attack him when he walks in, Q him. The problem is that Rise's Q got completely absorbed by Yasuo passive. If Rise had just like autoed him, waited for his passive to go down, snared him and Q'd him, and then like eat him, Yasuo probably would have been at a quarter health. 2 more spells and Rise's passive goes off and he kills Yasuo. Like Yasuo wouldn't be able to out-trade him in that situation. He's got Terrace Embrace for Out of Ages at 7 stacks. Like, I feel like the Cole doesn't understand quite how strong he is.
Yeah, because like at this point, he wins. He can kill this entire
Yeah, like
team.
she just got deleted there. Like
Exactly, that's what I was
straight
talking about.
deleted.
He doesn't understand
Oh
how
my god, the
strong he
crits.
is right now. And like back then, he could have had an opportunity of proccing this passive again if he used his spell rotation optimally.
I really like what the solution did here in that like fight.
Yeah.
Because he used creeps very well to block the Rise damage, so Rise couldn't do anything. I don't really like what I kind of like what Tristana did because she like got past the Braum shield, so Braum didn't stop the damage. But
Yeah, but you just
she
walk
took
around
a lot
that.
of damage for that.
Yeah, at that point, that should have been a kill. So, as a Braum player, the moment if the enemy AK does something retarded like that, you Q him, you exhaust, or I'm not sure if you had exhaust, you exhausted, and you just pretty much use your ult, have Rise, have your Lucian go in, and you can insta-kill Tristana because she's gonna get stunned into ult, and she's gonna be dead.
And you know, I would like to see Red Side try to go for a Baron right now. Like not just like straight up, oh, we don't have any wards on Baron, but like kind of like set up for a Baron because like blue team doesn't have much wave clear at all. They basically have Rise for wave clear, and Rise has to blow his ult, and then Tristana has pretty good wave clear. But wave clear against Baron, they have almost none of. And with Red Side's comp, they can very easily dive a tower, and like Janna ult can displace them and like kind of stop the AOE, but that also probably gets them out of the tower damage, so it's not like completely awful.
By the same token, Red Team's wave clear is limited almost entirely to Lucian calling, so it's not fantastic. It's like they'd be good against one wave. Against a Baroned up wave, on the other hand, like Red Team has literally nothing. Diana Q's, if Diana was super far ahead, would help. Yasuo Q is not very good, and then whenever the calling is on cooldown, which is pretty much after one wave, they don't really have nothing in the way of wave clear. What blue team needs to be doing right now is setting up vision on the top side and getting this red turret. Like when you force 4 people mid like that, you just drop some wards in the top side jungle and you dive Malphite. Like yeah, that sounds like, oh, why would we dive Malphite? It's a Malphite. If you take 5 people, you can kill a Malphite. Especially when that Malphite has just built his magic resist item with no magic mantle. Honestly, Red Team would be very, very, very poised to do that, and instead they're kind of like A-ramming in mid lane. Could be a good catch by Vi. Vi is very good about understanding when people are out of position, but at the same time, Janna ends up being horrendously out of position.
Yeah, but Rise is just in the
Rise damage. Oh no, Rise!
Destroy. Oh, that was really
that was quite well played. That was good spacing on their ultimates and on their CC, so that Rise was CC'd for a very long time.
And that's an outplay more so by the other team. Just like for blue team.
I mean,
you.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
At the same time, I feel like Rice should have respected the Braum shield. Like, he was throwing Qs into Braum, and Lucian was auto-attacking him, and he was basically trying to kill Lucian with just E. Granted, he is Rice, so that's not totally out of the realm of possibility. But what should have happened there is that Rice was like, okay, Braum's there, I should not try and blow up Lucian. Oh, Braum has moved out of position, I'm gonna blow Lucian the fuck up. Another thing that's bothering me is that Malphite is level 15. Rice is one of the most fed people on the map, so is Yasuo, but Malphite's higher level just by virtue of no one doing anything to Malphite. Malphite has no top turret. TAMU just got top turret, but I feel like they should kill this guy more. Like, he's getting an AFK push.
He's just gonna scale it. He's just gonna
The pink ward? I missed pink ward.
be like a worthwhile tank.
Yeah, because I mean, as it is, if Vi went up and ulted Malphite, Rise just walks up, kills Malphite a few times, Malphite dies. This would have been especially true when Malphite only had Warden's Mail and Giant's Belt, but now he's like actually building magic resist, so he's gonna end up being worth his weight in gold because he didn't have a very good laning phase. He made a lot of mistakes, but he wasn't punished for it. In fact, they like gave him gold for free.
It doesn't matter. He had a good laning phase. He was stuck on that island with no jungle pressure, and he's down 30 CS. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about that's his blue team's fault.
One thing in this team fight is that Vi would be playing this really well if they had basically any other team. But Vi is not playing team fights well because Vi is their only frontline. Like, Rise can a little bit be a frontline, but basically not. I don't like Team L flashing in there. But, so, what Vi has to do is Vi has to try to keep Yasuo off, especially in a team fight without Malphite. Like, I think, like, Vi can kind of accomplish that, but, like, right now, they have absolutely no front line, and then, like, Janna's not enough to keep Lucian off of their entire team, or, I mean, to keep Yasuo off their entire team. Like, she can maybe keep him off of Tristana, but, like, basically, like, Tristana, their backline was just completely, like, shreked by Yasuo because they didn't have any sort of heal or front line.
I feel like that's like the niche pick that you go for right now.
One thing that was brought up is that so they have this Teemo pick, and they're not really doing anything with it. So Teemo needs to get ahead of lane. He needs to get ahead in lane, and needs to go just be AFK split push. He does this through assassinating people, which granted you can't really assassinate Malphite, even though Malphite had no magic resist, so I think he actually could have. And Teemo shrooms. So if he had a lot of shrooms down, it would not only give them more vision, but it would cause a lot of pressure, and that people have to go back a lot, especially with that Leandri's Torment. If you're gonna build Leandri's Torment that early, you need to abuse Leandri's Torment and make it like it's what current health damage, right? Yeah. The Vi steals another dragon, and please, okay, they need to not be so close to the wall. Like, there's no kill Yasuo. They should kill Yasuo here. The win wall, keep moving backwards.
I don't think they can because there's lag.
They really could have. Like, if all Janna had to do was walk backwards. Like, these are really, like, I don't even know what category to put them under in terms of gameplay, but it's understanding how much damage what the other person can do and understanding what you can do. Because like all Janna had to do there was shield herself, walk away from Yasuo. When Yasuo tries to go on her, Q him, and just let Tristana auto. They sat there for like 3 seconds with Yasuo's wind wall there, and Janna was still in auto attack range. Like, that didn't have to be a thing. Janna didn't have to die there. When you sit there and like there's a mechanic clearly stopping you from doing anything, run away from it. Like, you don't have to give him that for free. And so Yasuo should have just straight up died there, but instead picks up a kill. And there's a lot of mistakes. Like,
alternatively,
what's up? Go ahead.
You can also just play it safe and just back up. You blew his flash. That's a pretty big win.
That's huge. So that stops that whenever Malphite does an ultimate or Dyna does an E and Yasuo's not in range, you can't flash in range for it. Or if Ryze gets a lockdown on Yasuo and he gets a bind and he starts dealing damage, Yasuo can't just flash out of it. That these summoners are almost lives. You should never not use a summoner so you end up dying for it, and you should also not hold the summoner so that because you're afraid to die for it. I think I got that backwards. You know what I mean? I hope you guys know what I mean. Like, summoners are really important.
The Andy, the counterplay is always walking around a wind wall or being TF. Khalil can attest to that.
Wait, what about TF?
TF bullet card?
Oh, don't talk to me about that, actually. I'm just gonna be really upset. And one thing that I do have a problem with in this game overall is that there are TPs on teams and the TPs are not being used effectively. I have not seen a good TP from anyone on the map. When I say a good TP, I mean...
I've not seen a single TP that has not just been back to lane.
I mean, and
honestly, a lot of the time they didn't even.
Oh yeah, to go back to lane, and when they got back to lane with the TP, it wasn't even like worth going to lane with the TP. like the good times to TP back to lane, it wasn't used, and then yeah, I'll try and explain what makes a good TP. That's a really long topic though, and a lot of it has to do with wave control, and also oh my god, oh my god. So that's a tanky rise. That's a Saracen Brace, like, passive rise. So,
They need to kill her.
good on... Oh my god.
Just trying to go ham on the... She already has 2 kills. If she jumps in, she can get that third right there. There's no way they...
So that team fight
Wow,
could've
wow,
gone better for
wow,
both
wow,
teams.
wow, wow.
So
That was
good
a
pick
lot of
by the
damage.
Cleo.
That was a
pretty much
metric
instant
fuck ton of
burst.
damage. So, okay, honestly... Oh my god. So I want to say Red Team should have been more prepared for that. Granted, they were a little extended. They don't really have much in the way of siege. Yasuo probably shouldn't have been that far up, but that is a lot of fucking damage out of Ryze.
Okay, even then, like that's no excuse because like they have a Yasuo and a Braum.
Well, I mean that's why I said Yasuo shouldn't have been that far forward. That's a lot of damage. When Windwall was on cooldown, and when Windwall's on cooldown, he needs to respect the fact that Windwall's on cooldown more. It's kind of hard to gauge how much damage Ryze is going to do to you because, like, usually whenever you have your indicators of how much damage a champion is going to do. You look at their attack damage, you look at their ability power. Ryze doesn't have very many AP items built, although he does have a Rabadon's. And so he has 640 AP. That's from Rod of Ages and Saracen Brace with his passive, in addition to the fact that he has Rabadon's increasing it. I don't know, like, conventional build paths for Ryze, but 650 AP is nothing to, like, try and ignore. That's a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, it's not that Ryze doesn't scale well with AP. It's the reason that people build mana on him is for one because he's extremely mana intensive. It's because he has to spam his spells. So damn, that's damn. But also the fact that he like if you mana items usually also have defensive stats. So okay, that's not very much communication there. Oh wow. But so
here's the other
basically,
thing. You should never be in that position, you know? You get caught out like that. It's like push out without wards without your team. Even though you got the kill, it wasn't worth it because you lose map control. Especially if you do the most damage on your team.
He only has 70, okay. But I mean, at the same time, Ryze has absolutely no magic penetration whatsoever. Oh, is that 170? No, it's... Oh, I'm looking at his AP. His AP 70. So that was a 170 magic just... Malphite just get completely... I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the fact that Malphite just straight up evaporated. He has 179 MR, and it looked like he had no magic resist whatsoever. Ryze's damage is dumb. The counterplay is that you don't fight him when he has passive up, but the disturbing thing about that is that when he went on Malphite, he didn't even have his passive proc to begin with. Like, that's an insane amount of damage. I don't... That's ridiculous. I will admit, yeah, Ryze should have never been as extended as he was, but at the same time, Red Team should not have given away a kill when they were fighting 1v3 against a person that was that extended. Diana shouldn't have died there. Once again, I know it's hard to gauge Ryze's damage, but Diana didn't have to still be dealing damage to Ryze when she died. Oh my goodness. Lucian. Get cold. Oh, Ryze E reduces MR. Okay, that's something I knew I learned today. Yasuo getting caught out there. Red Team is suffering from a complete lack of vision control. I see a pink ward on top side, I see a sight ward on top side, I see absolutely no wards in the side of the map that Red Team is running around in.
And basically what Red side did is they bought a bunch of sweepers and then they're like, alright, we have sweepers, we don't need wards. And
I mean, also, Yasuo has bought 3
but he didn't place
green
any.
wards, and he's never used them.
Like having...
I'm not sure how long ago he bought them, but like, at the very least, he should have used some of them, even though he died.
Especially walking up to where he was. So what Red side is lacking is defensive pinks. They have 1 defensive pink and top side, but that doesn't really matter because they're not doing anything on the top side of the map. They have 4 people that can buy a pink, and that would save them from having to buy wards. If you have 5 defensive pinks up, and you have someone routinely buying sight wards in addition to a sight stone, you can get away with running 4 sweepers. If you have absolutely no wards on the map where you need them placed, and you're running 4 sweepers, it doesn't matter, because you don't even know if the other team is warding to begin with. Yeah, you should assume that they are, but if they're not, then you have, like, 4 trinkets that are doing absolutely nothing when you could have vision. There's a balance that needs to be struck there.
Look at Red Team's, Oracle lenses. See how many wards they killed. Yasuo has killed 1 ward, and Braum has killed 9 wards.
And wow, and then top and jungle have killed 0 wards.
That Braum sweeper is coming in clutch, for sure. But like, these trinket upgrades haven't even paid for themselves yet. Like with the yellow trinkets, you could say that they pay for themselves fairly early. You drop what 2, 3, 4 wards, which is within a 2-minute cooldown. Yeah, basically a 3-minute cooldown. It's paid for itself. These sweepers, you have to kill. Like it's not. You can't necessarily put. You can say there's an opportunity cost. Like you denied vision. Okay, that's good. That's worth more gold than like the gold value you get for killing a ward. But when you haven't killed any more than 1 ward and you've had it for, I'd imagine they've been level 9 for a while now, so they could have been using these for a long time, and they haven't gotten any value out of it. It's like you may as well have gone Sightstone.
Oh, what I would really like to see red side here is, I've been saying it over and over, but pressure Baron, because you have 4 sweepers, and you haven't really been using them well, but you can use them to completely deny them any vision near the Baron pit, and then you can either bait it, or you have a Malphite tanked out off of Malphite.
Let's go back to the team fight. Good disengage by Jaina, perfect splitting the carries. Also healed your team in the process. Rise can be able to reinitiate on this. Looks like it's a really risky jump in, but Rise is going to get on the back line, and this is going to be an ace for blue team.
That was a pretty sloppy team fight. First and foremost, the biggest mistake that stuck out to me immediately is Yasuo was way too far forward at the beginning of that fight. When you're playing,
and also, he ulted as soon as Braum ult went down. Like, he was just spamming his ult button, and he only got 1 person, even though I think 2 more people were knocked up.
Spamming your ult button for Yasuo is fine when you're trying to get like off of Diana, which is like a 0.25 second window. When you have when you have an ultimate that's going to ripple through their team, you need to wait for because you get to select which person that you ult, and you can suspend other people that are near that person that got ulted. So you should be a lot more calculating when you use your Yasuo ultimate. I don't know what Teemo's doing right now. Teemo's dead. Okay.
They're Baroning. They're trying to Baroning, but
that was anyway. So the Yasuo was way too far forward in that team fight. When the Malphite ult misses, okay, Malphite doesn't have much use. He's not gonna be able to stick on Tristana. I wouldn't even bother taking the fight at that point because there's no reason to. You're like, if they start pressuring you on certain parts of the map and they force you into the fight, yeah, you can take it. But if you miss Malphite ult, say, okay, never mind, let's back out. We'll try again later. They're not in a position where they absolutely have to go in and fight. Braum ult went down. Yasuo should not have ulted in my opinion, because he has no one there to back him up. Like if Diana had landed a Q and Diana was R'ing in on someone that was squishy, like say Tristana or Teemo, that would have been acceptable because Yasuo wouldn't have been stuck in the back line by himself. But what ended up happening is, even if he had ulted later on after Braum ult hit more people, he could have been sitting in the back of their team with absolutely no one to help him out. And that's a result of Malphite ult missing. Like, you don't want to engage as a carry by yourself. Yasuo, it's especially difficult to determine whether or not your decision making is good enough for it, because you can take an ult, be in Narnia, and your team's just like, oh, maybe we should have helped out Yasuo. One of those sort of things.
Yasuo has still not used any of the 3 wards that he bought. And then Braum has made wards that he didn't.
That's a dead Diana. That's gonna be a dead Lucian. That's also gonna be a dead Malphite. That's gonna be the game for blue team. Or not. I think they decided to win the game and take Baron instead. So let's see. Yasuo's gonna get caught over here. That's gonna be a dead Yasuo as well, and that should be Baron the blue team. There's also consequence of you don't have vision on the map. You got caught. Now you just.
One of the biggest problems is that Red Team has a distinct advantage in having a comp that's significantly better than Blue Team. What Randy said earlier before the game even started is that the way that he sees Blue Team winning this game is if Ryze just gets horrendously fed and out of hand. That is pretty much exactly what happened. Ryze he has 17,000 gold this game. The next highest person has 16.5, which is Lucian, but the problem is that Ryze can straight up delete Lucian. At this point in the game, the amount of gold that Ryze has is going to go further than the amount of gold that Lucian has, because Ryze scales better, because his ratios were better, and because his overall kit is better in terms of dealing damage. What Red Team needed to do to win this game was just straight up wombo them. This could have been done a lot better if Malphite had bought home guards, got some home guard TPs in, Malphite ult. What do you do against that? Generally, you just die. They have Yasuo in for the initial burst damage. They have Diana in there to burst somebody, and they just have Lucian clean up. They have a very good comp. They're just not playing it to its strengths. They're not playing the comp well. And like, this is you would think, oh, this is an impossible comp to mess up. It's hard to mess up. It's face roll, like Malphite ults, Yasuo ults. But if you make mistakes, like you miss Malphite ult and you take a fight anyway, Yasuo ults in with no support, you make mistakes like that, you'll end up losing the game. And that's exactly what's happening. Because then Ryze just is like, LOL, you guys are split buttons, and they all die.
Honestly, I think the biggest mistake that Red Side has made this game is that level 1 that was just awful. Like, genuinely terrible.
Yeah, but that level 1 didn't influence the rest of the 4 team fights to this scenario.
Yeah. You hit the mute button again. Oh, yeah, I'm pushing Hawk. So this Baron could be used a little bit better by blue team. One thing that I would like to see is okay, so they have Teemo split off. Another thing that they could do is have Ryze go mid lane and just because no one's gonna go fight Ryze. No one's gonna mess with Ryze. Yeah, just do a 1-1-3. Have one person mid, one person top, and 3 people bot. All right, so here's the engage. That was very, very, very good for them. Jiminy Cricket going way too far there. Blue team played that. Okay, good engage by red team was 1 point. Very, very, very bad re-engage by blue team. Like, whenever that happened and Tristana died, they should have just said, you know what, I'm not about this, and just left. It's good that Teemo is getting top lane, but when you have a Janna on your team, there's no reason why. Granted, you might lose one person, but there's no reason why you guys should get aced by something like that, because you have the Janna disengage. That Jiminy Cricket re-engaged when he shouldn't have. Ryze was kind of just chilling, not knowing what he wanted to do, and Tristana got deleted. Part of that's positioning error on Tristana's part of that's a good engage by red team. So, that not a very good use of Baron, but they did get an inhibitor out of it, so that was a plus. That could have been done much better with the kind of comp that they have.
The good thing for blue side, though, is that they picked up the 4th dragon. I actually was not paying attention to when they got it, but so in 5 more minutes, they're going to have the 5th dragon and Baron potential.
All blue team has to do, like their win condition right now to winning this game, is having Tristana and Ryze not getting ulted and just watching them attack move into the enemy team. That's pretty much all they have to do at this point. Ryze is sitting on a full build. He has a Guardian Angel, which is really unfortunate they got wasted like that, but he has 757 AP, 1 Q from this kid. Literally one press of his Q button, which you can press every 2.6 seconds, does almost 700 damage. Like, this kid presses E and just destroys your family. This is insane. Even his W does 600 damage.
Here's the thing about blue team. Your whole purpose right now is peel for Tristana.
Honestly, I would say
leave
Tristana and Ryze.
up. No, if you focus Tristana with your composition like that, you lose the game because Ryze leads you. The opposite occurs too. If you focus Ryze, Tristana leads you because of how fed she is. So you disengage. Yasuo only hits one person. Good find though. This could be a good re-engage. Tristana shouldn't jump in, but Ryze just melts. Here's the thing. You play the fight wrong because you got both your carries caught in the same time, and that can't happen, especially if you're playing a 2-threat composition. Or maybe 2.5 with Teemo.
That's actually a good point, Johnny, because they are playing a 2-threat composition, which is, I think, another reason why I didn't like the Vi pick. Because, like, basically, their top laner is not a threat in terms of team fights. And then, alright, in this fight, Lucian should not be tanking. They have a gigantic Malphite. They have a pretty tanky Braum. Like, there's no reason that Lucian should be ganking.
And that was just a really bad overcommit from red team.
And then Baron spawns in a minute and a half, so what I'd like to see blue side do is just, first of all, get some clear bot. That's a huge wave. They're going to be missing a lot of EXP, but I guess they can get an inhib, so that's definitely worth. But
please don't say you're trying to end the game at this point.
Yeah, like,
You
that's
can get
just
a
stupid.
turret, but
Actually, well, it's possible.
No, you get a
Malphite doesn't
turret,
have
but
ult.
that's not worth it. It doesn't matter because Yasuo is going to come and destroy your team. Oh my god, don't tell me he gets away. Alright, somehow blue team managed to get around with a really, really risky dive. A risky turret.
But I think that red side should definitely get vision control around Baron. Then they can take Baron very quickly between Rise and Vi and Teemo. And then after that, I would rotate to the Dragon. And then the other team has 2 inhibitors down. One's going to spawn by then, probably, I think. But then they're going to have 5th Dragon and Baron with an inhib still down. No Nexus turrets. Like,
I mean, also from that, the gold is also really close.
Yeah, and another thing is that they have basically how they lose this game is by having having Rise and Tristana close enough that either Malphite or Braum will hit both, and then Yasuo can kill them. But if they are split up enough that if not split up as in not in the same place, but if they aren't hit by that ult and they are not both deleted, then I think they win the team fight if they have both Baron buff and Dragon buff, 5th Dragon.
No, that's a really interesting position by Teemo, being a site ward and all.
And he could have, if they had swept there, then I think he would have been killed. And
Oh, we're hitting the young 80,000 gold within this game. The gold lead doesn't really matter anymore. It's interesting that the gold is this close and red team still hasn't killed any of the middle turrets. That's very interesting to me. But honestly, red team, like Randy was talking about with the Malphite, that's pretty much the only way they win this game. Rise needs to die instantly. We have the throwback to Worlds there. Rise killing Dragon, taking no damage. And Rise didn't really get punished for not building any real defensive items there.
You just focus on the Baron.
That Yasuo should have canceled TP.
Yeah. Yasuo goes in 1v5. I like to see a TP from Rise a lot faster, but at this stage, that's a lot of damage. But Tristana's gonna be able to just face tank through it because
I don't know where
Diana has
Diana
a really good blind, and that's gonna be game for blue team.
Well, actually,
no, there's no turrets for.
Rise and Tristana.
There's no turrets. Yeah. Tristana's probably gonna 1v1 Diana. Just kidding. Tristana's scared.
Rise.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even though there was so much pressure on the map and there were so many turrets missing, it was still possible for red team to win the game. They had the comp for it, they had the technology, but they didn't have the execution.
It's just all about execution.
The biggest things I noticed in this game is that players this elo need to be more cognizant of how much damage they do and how much damage they take from other champions. They don't always pick very good fights. The other thing is that overstaying, both those things really, really big time on the overextending and the overstaying. There weren't as many throws because I really do feel like blue team had control of that game pretty much the entire thing, even though the play wasn't particularly spectacular. Red team made a lot of mistakes, and they were doing pretty well early on, but they going into mid game and into late game, the lack of vision control and straight up overextension that cost them the game pretty much. Looking at damage, Timothy did some decent damaglio. Rise, the soul carry, good god. Lucian also and Diana put out some pretty good damage, but the comp execution just wasn't there. Whenever you pick a comp that feels like it can't fail, you need to identify what can go wrong, and everything that could go wrong with this kind of comp was going wrong. Yasuo being too far into fights by himself, Malphite missing ultimates, Diana falling behind and not really being relevant. So she had a lot of damage toward the end, but they never were in a position to actually team fight. I think Braum was actually playing pretty well, but I feel like at the same time his team wasn't following up on what he was doing. Same thing with Lucian. I feel like bot lane on red team, all rights did better than blue team significantly, and they just, man, that was bad.
See, I think that basically red side had one lane that could win, and they could kind of carry from there. They had the late game, but they had 2 losing lanes because Yasuo would lose to Rise and Malphite would lose to Teemo. And then they had a farming jungler who, I mean, Diana actually put out a surprising amount of pressure early game, but the problem is their one lane that they had that could really win lane, they completely butchered that by like completely giving up the level 1 with basically getting nothing from it. So that like basically it allowed Rise to get ahead because or like Rise to like get even further ahead because they had no jungle pressure because they had a Diana who can't really gank until 6. And then I don't know, I think that comp wise, I think that Red Side's comp was significantly better, but they just didn't play it right.
Mm-hmm. So overall, we'll go into more discussion in the future as we go back with the team, and we'll discuss about what we have to improve. But one of the most major things from coming from a top lane main is effective teleports.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the invites to the gold game. You guys can do that right quick.
Or talk to them about what they did wrong or right.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Randy, let's go.
Send me one of those.
All right, where are we going?
We are gonna go to general and talk to the plebeians.
All right.
Tomorrow, if we win that, we have to play again because it's a double elimination. And we already lost, but that's the 3 to the team we're playing. So we have to beat them. Yeah. Yeah.
Invite me, Khalil.
We'll have to see because there's like 10 people signed up already.
But I already gave you $5.
You can do 50.
I'm like glad and upset that we only have 2 tests in my class because
To Malphite, and Malphite has basically only one way of getting to you, which is his ultimate. And but if you don't get boots, and he gets tier 2 boots, which I also don't agree with rushing, but then basically he can catch up to you, which he really shouldn't be able to do, and he can damage you and like kind of trade with you. So I think that you should have gone if you're going to stick with the Leandries first, then you should have gotten hunting guys and then got at the very least get tier 1 boots and then finish Leandries. But I would suggest go like the build that I would say the most optimal would be is basically you go stink, you get like just tier 1 boots and then you finish Nasher's Tooth first because like we said, what Teemo is trying to do here is Teemo is trying to provide split put pressure, and Nashers doesn't really help with pressure, like with split push pressure at all. Like it makes your shrooms do more damage, which is very nice, but you can't have more shrooms. Like you can have more shrooms with Nashers because you get the CDR, and you can push the wave faster, and you can damage turrets a lot more. If you are basically just trying to apply pressure on the top side, then I would definitely go with Nasher's Tooth first instead of Leandries first, and then get Leandries second. And then also you need to upgrade your boots as Teemo because you want to be able to kite them very well, and tier 2 boots does that so much better than having no boots.
So going for the same thing for Malphite, I'm not sure if you know, but it's kind of hard to see a more optimal build path because going tier 2 boots versus Malphite isn't really effective, especially as you did a good job definitely in maintaining your lane against Teemo, but you just kind of struggled due to your itemization. Good job on catching her in a turret several times, but you want to go something that gives you more sustain first. Like I knew that you built into Spirit Visage. If you build Spectres instead of tier 2 boots first, just focus on POS, just be able to wave clear, you can do so much better in that lane. But in overall, you did a good job. The only thing I see for you lacking is landing your spells correctly in team fights.
And the usage of teleport.
That's also not a huge thing. Coming from a D3, D2, D1, D4, whatever, I have no idea. Top lane main, the purpose of teleport is you apply pressure to the rest of the map. So no matter what it was, you can, for example, if you're losing lane, it doesn't matter. You can go bot, get 2 kills. If you're winning lane, it doesn't matter. You go bot, you go mid, you get kills. Your overall, if you have TP, especially for red team, because you have two TPs on the map, you have to affect the map. Like, I don't care if that means giving up some CS, giving up some damage on your turret. It's better for you to give up, say, 50 CS, or not say 50 CS, say you lose 2 waves and you get 2 kills bot, or you get 2 waves bot. There are so many opportunities I can see for both Malphite and Yasuo to use their teleports offensively, and they just weren't used. You gotta be aware of the map.
Yeah, I don't know. The only reason I took TP is because we had no idea where Teemo was, and we were considering swapping lanes. But normally I take Ignite or Exhaust mid lane because I just go for the 1v1. Like I'm just gunning for the enemy mid laner's head basically.
It's also gonna help, especially with top lane, because especially if you're going against Ignite, you have to abuse because Teemo has Ignite. Sure, he might get a turret or 2, but it doesn't matter if your bot lane or your mid lane is so far ahead, you can get away with that. Like, there's so many scenarios where in solo queue, I've lost lane as game playing, as Rumble, and I TP'd. I had a good TP before the other laner TP'd, and I won the game because I had a better TP. And it occurs so much in competitive play as well. The proper use of TP makes a laner good.
Like, seriously, how the fuck do you use it, honestly? I'm gonna be blunt here.
What?
How the fuck do you use teleport?
You look at the map.
All right, so
No,
what
you
basically?
look at the map. You see if you have vision down there. If you see if you can encounter a gank.
I know,
But I
the
don't even
button, it's
necessarily
just when
completely
to
agree with
TP.
that, Johnny. I would say that you look like you don't just like see if you have vision. You tell your bot lane, hey, if they are pushing up against you, then ward one of the bushes in there, and I will TP, and then after that we can get dragon, or you can push down bot turret because basically
our bot lane was pushing on them most of the time.
So then you teleport and then you form and dive them.
Who's not talking because I can barely hear you.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
No, not Jonathan. I meant the Malphite.
I don't think is Malphite even in here.
Oh, well, then who was talking about the TP usage?
Oh, that was Arcadia.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So last week y'all said not to build a 6 item for ADC and build defense, so I built Randuin's. Would it be better since I'm Tristana to go for a 6 crit item, or was?
No, actually, what I would say you should have built is you should have built Banshee's Veil because basically their way to win that game was to hit both you as Tristana and Rise with either Malphite ult or Braum ults and then kill you. But they also basically they have Lucian who can kind of proc it. But other than that, they really don't have much of a way to proc your Banshee's Veil at all without like committing to a fight. So if you have Banshee's Veil, then you're going to stop that Malphite ult from hitting you. And I would say that would be the best 6 item you could get.
Okay, and it'd be good so for Yasuo couldn't ult me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Malphite couldn't get his ult off you, so it wouldn't get a knock up, and you can stay safe. I guess I'll remember to get back to you in the future as we go through the junglers. So for both junglers, you guys did pretty well. I like to see more focus on vision control and vision denial. That's also a thing for blue team. You guys bought 4 sweepers, and Okay, mid lane, you killed 1 ward. Top lane, you killed 4 wards. Jungle, you killed 4 wards. And also, good job, Braum. You killed a lot of wards, 9 wards. And that's the kind of thing. There's no purpose buying sweepers if you don't use them effectively. Especially if the other team isn't warding properly, or go focus on your own vision control. So another thing is, if you buy wards, use them. They don't do any good in your inventory. This goes for both teams.
This especially goes for Yasuo because we saw that you had 3 wards in your inventory for probably a solid 10 minutes without using them, and like they're completely useless if they're just in your inventory.
Okay,
and then one thing that I have just for red team in general is your level. You guys' level 1 was that was probably is mainly what cost you the game because what you tried to do.
Okay, Arcadia, that's Ron. Ryze is one of the most difficult champions to play properly. He has like a 40% something win rate in solo queue right now. And dude, just
really
chill the fuck out. Hey, Khalil.
Did y'all forget to perma mute him?
Rise is so difficult.
Yeah, he's very difficult for
Okay,
me.
coming from, I'm a I'm a D3 player right now. I can't play Rise because of the mechanics required to land a combo. I guess another thing I talk to you about, Chloe. You miss a lot of combos where you could have killed a lot more people.
Wait, I missed what? Wait, what, Johnny?
Oh, the Chloe.
He's talking to the
Chloe.
Yasuo, I think.
Chloe.
I said
How
Chloe.
do I pronounce that, man?
Okay, that makes sense. Never mind.
You see, I'm Chinese. I don't speak English.
I definitely thought he was saying Khalil too, so I was like,
Oh, all right. Yeah, Khalil has PTSD against Rise, but
PTSD against Rise.
oh yeah, but as I was saying about the level 1 is basically like you guys. First of all, you mistimed the smite, so Vi still got Grump even after you committed so many resources to it. And then like you just took blue. Like taking blue was okay, but for one, like bot lane, it was your only winning matchup essentially, and you guys like essentially lost your lane because you didn't get to lane until the Janna and the Tristana were already like a level and a half to 2 levels over you, because you were topside for so long, basically accomplishing nothing. So what you should have done there is, for one, you generally want to invade bot side, just because then you can just walk back to lane, and then the only person who couldn't just really walk back to lane has teleport as a worst case scenario. So invading bot side is generally better, unless maybe I can see it if you're playing against a champion like Fiddlesticks that is extremely mana dependent. If you just want to completely make sure that you starve him of that blue.
So the reason we invaded topside is because Yasuo didn't want to lane against Rise, so we were going to ward the lane so we could tell which one. We didn't know if Teemo or Rise was going top or mid, so we were going to ward to see the matchup and then send Malphite or Yasuo to respective lanes. And then it just kind of fell apart.
Because you guys
that was the idea.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that both Malphite and Rise have, both Malphite and Yasuo have TP. So, like, worst case scenario, you have to lane for, like, you basically get one wave there, and then if it's that bad, then you can just and then you can do, like, you can swap lanes afterwards.
But then we have to listen to Arcadia bitch about Rise for the 5 minutes that takes, so.
Okay, but you can't, okay. I don't really know what to say to that, but that's not a valid thing.
It is definitely valid.
He's really annoying. I played with him like every week, and he always complains,
he
even if we're
screams on
winning.
the mic the entire game.
I'll deal with that later. Does anybody else have anything that matters right
Can
now
we just
that they
not
need to
have him
say?
anymore? Like, it's really toxic, and I really don't feel like doing
I
this
know.
anymore. It's
I'll
getting
deal with that
every game I
later.
play.
I'll talk about
I
it
just want to
later.
improve, and I want to like deal with someone who's that toxic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For people that are inside the client right now, I need you to invite, what's it called? Admiral Nico.
And don't forget me.
And
So anyway,
invite Martyr.
So one more thing, I guess that we're talking about, you gotta be aware of how much damage you do mid-game as Rise, especially you gotta play around your passive a bit better, because once you have 5 stacks, you do so much more. And there are several scenarios where you could have killed Yasuo 1v1, but you kind of backed away from it just because you weren't really sure about your damage output. I think it just takes a bit more, just spend more time solo queuing, just because It's very difficult, and I kind of understand that. So for bot lane, Savvy,
Yeah.
don't, as Tristana,
League of
please
Throw,
don't
go
click
team 1.
suicide and jump into the enemy team.
Yeah.
I know it looks great, but you only want to do that when you know you can get resets and you know for sure that you can like kill someone and get away from it. Just because it's Tristana, your main damage output is your mobility. You cut your mobility through resets and the amount of sustained damage you have. For example, in late game, if red team focused you, Rise will win the game. If they focus Rise, you will win the game. It's kind of, you have this two dichotomy. You gotta make sure you guys are both safe at the same time. You can't be collapsed on. But beyond that, very good, pretty good team fights. Aside from the suicide tech.
Yeah, the
tendency.
dragon. Yeah, after
Yeah,
that
I
first
saw
dragon,
that.
after the first dragon, when I jumped in, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna try and stay in the back.
All right, if any of you guys have any more questions for Johnny, me, or Randy, wait until, or either message us directly or message us on Facebook. I'm going to, what is it called? Start game 2 now because these guys have been waiting.
Okay.
Can we get the support?
Yeah, it's full.
Rundown.
Yes.
Support rundown.
Here, wait, Johnny, go.
I wasn't really paying that much attention early game because I was eating, but pretty much is you guys have to be more effective on your ward. For Braum, you did a good job warding, but it's about you have to get the right amount of wards, especially as you were pretty much you're the only person on your team warding. You gotta make sure you ward the high vision areas of where you guys are gonna be because there was so many scenarios, but both teams got picked off because both supports and both teams had very very poor vision. It's like I've been reiterating this so many times as I'm gonna write a guide on this eventually in the near future after I finish a bunch of tests this week on where to ward properly and where to ping properly.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
need
like
that.
how do you know when to do a lane ward that's like really far up, like whenever there are several towers in mid lane missing, and then like how do you know to put those wards in brushes or like near dragon, like when that's an objective?
Well, the good idea for that is when you look at it, you imagine the turrets as like a line of scrimmage, and generally when you push wards like that, you want wards in like areas that would benefit your team, like either offensively or defensively. So let's say you take mid turret, for example, you want to start pushing up wards like as though it's like a little concave, like, and you want to like start pushing up and slowly gaining more vision. And really, when you when you want a ward for like dragon or something like that, you can like keep like a token ward there just to be like, hey, someone's like 2 or 3 people, like 3+ people are missing. They're probably they want to do something. But the idea behind prepping for like warding for dragon is when you want to actually prep for dragon. So you want these wards, and you want to have your support and like other members of the team start setting it up, and then you want to do something that's going to give you an advantage, like maybe take off one person and just remove that pressure from the map, and then just go for it. Because if they try to challenge it, you now know where they're going to be coming from, and you can react accordingly to something like that.
So in situations where you have very few wards like this game, is it better to ward one place really well or to try to kind of cover multiple places? Like there was that time when it was like they had 4 dragons and Baron was spawning basically simultaneously. Which should I have focused on, or should I try to have warded both? Or
Really, in the situation like that, when they took the dragon, like you really don't get much of a chance to like actually go for wards around Baron when if you have the imminent pressure of them coming in. What you really would do is just try and act reactively and just put wards to get vision in certain areas.
Here's the thing. You take Dragon or Baron because the team can only take one at one time, but there was a 30-second difference. So at that scenario when Baron was spawning first, you want to make sure you have one vision control over Baron, see if you can make a pick to clear the vision around that area to try to prevent them from getting that win condition. And you guys can definitely make picks. You guys have a strong team composition built around that, but ultimately it's like you guys. They just managed to somehow survive this 5, even though there was a few opportunities where they could have made a pick. Your team was off split pushing. For example, Yasuo was split pushing bot for no reason. He did have teleport, but it's like your team knows we guys have Baron timer. It's not season 4. Baron gives you a timer when it spawns, when it dies. So you need to recognize Baron's gonna be up at this point. This is their win condition. We gotta stop their win condition.
One thing specifically on the topic of warding in mid lane, you don't want to try and get deep wards unless you have jungler support, but you need to make sure that when you're placing wards that they're in meaningful areas. There's not much reason to ward the top side unless your top laner is getting roamed on by your mid lane a lot, so you want to focus most of your vision toward bot side and towards dragon. So between you and the support, you should have complete vision over like that general area. One of the things that was lacking specifically was that once you took mid turret and bot turret, you had no vision on their outside and their bot side jungle, which is fine if you're not planning on pushing up or like needing dragon control because dragon's down, but the vision should transition from bot side to top side because they were still a top turret up, so you needed to see what they were doing in the top side jungle. Bot side wards aren't bad because if you see them in bot side, you know that you're not top side, so you can do something top side. But you had no vision in top at all, and you weren't pressuring it, so you just had this really awkward phase where you guys were farming bot and mid lane, but bot and mid turrets were gone already, so you're not generating any pressure and you're not doing anything with it. All right,
Okay, so I guess I'll read.
Yeah, we're gonna start spectating this other game, so we're gonna switch channels. So if you guys have any more questions, ask Martyr or Nox or
One more
D2
thing is,
Darius.
I guess I'll split it off to everyone. As Jaina or Jana, whatever, your purpose as your ult is you want to split the enemy team. You had a few good ults in that regard, such as you split Yasuo away, you let your team focus him down while you provided some heal for your team. It's like the purpose of Jaina ult is to split the enemy team from your carries. You want to make sure that your carries and your pillars can focus down their divers while their carries and their pillars are away from the damage. So you could kite away, kite back. That's why Jaina is so strong in that regard. The heal is completely secondary. It's nice if you can heal your team, but it's not important. What I'm still working on this is you want to make sure that you can peel correctly and heal your team in the process, but you have to be a really good Jaina do it. I still screw up on that all the time.
Are you guys gonna post runes and masteries analyses?
I think
We
Leo
covered
did it.
those, and so you just need to watch the beginning of the video of the VOD for that. Go to the part where it's in Champion Select, and we go over everyone's runes and masters. I'm probably not going to type it out. I might, but probably not, because you guys can just skip ahead, because we did it in order of champions, and so you just skip to that part of the video. If that's the only thing you want to hear, you can just go to that.
Okay, swap.
Are y'all able to see our runes and masteries?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
We can see them, yeah.
Everybody can see them. Just go to op.gg.
What?
Yeah.
Alright. And Norman. Leo, you need to give us moving powers again, man.
No, that was cancer.
No, wait, just for the day one.
Okay, talking about team compositions. So Purple Team has a Yasuo comp. They are significantly lacking in the magic damage department unless Zillion gets super fed and builds damage. They have Caitlyn, so they have pretty good siege. That's usually good because in Yasuo comps, usually what they're lacking is siege. So it's good that they have the Caitlyn pick. The big D on Mundo is going to be very, 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 very problematic for Purple Team, I feel. If they don't start getting ahead and Mundo gets really fed, I feel like they're not going to be able to kill him. If it was just Mundo and he didn't have 4 teammates, they'd be fine. But the reality is that this Corki is going to do some decent damage. It's not going to be like hyper carry status, but Diana will very much get to the I can instantly delete Diana and Yasuo status. That matchup is very easy for Yasuo players to lose. I'll be interested to see if Anarchist knows how to play it. But yeah, one thing that I will say is that in terms of overall composition, I like Purple Team's. I don't know actually. I think that the comps are they have their places. I don't think they're bad comps. I feel like Blue Team could have benefited from having.
I think it's about execution ultimately.
Yeah, I feel like one thing that does bother me is that the mid lane pick and the top lane pick for Blue Team are very weak in terms of early game. They're not going to have much pressure, but they supplemented that with a Lee Sin pick, and Corki Morgana, I'm not mistaken, is pretty decent. It doesn't really outclass Caitlyn in terms of laning, but I don't know how the Zillion pick is what's interesting to me because I don't know how that's going to work out. It could be really good for Purple Team, it could be really bad. So we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. So my understanding is Purple Teams just have a dive comp and they have Zillion reset a dive comp, so you can dive harder and harder while Caitlyn somehow survives.
Yep, I think what's going to happen is that Purple Team's going to dive really hard. There's going to get the Zillion ult on Yasuo. Yasuo's going to come back from dead to do more damage. Meanwhile, Caitlyn's trying to get the bonus armor penetration procs on Mundo and killing him before he kills her her front line dies. She wants to be able to kill Mundo, and then she'll join the rest of the fight.
She's not going to be able to kill Mundo though late game because Mundo can itemize pure armor, health, and one magic resist item, or spirit.
I feel like if Vi,
they don't do enough damage to kill him.
I feel like it's possible with the reworked Caitlyn passive and like getting the armor penetration from Vi with Black Cleaver and Last Whisper and Caitlyn. I think it'll be possible. Just leave it up to and I think there's gonna be a point in the game at which they're gonna need to spend less time trying to dive Corki because Corki's not gonna be as big of a damage threat and focus more on peeling for Caitlyn. If they play more like that,
kill off Mundo, you got a pretty big win condition there. But we'll see how this game goes out. Ready to start Runes and Masteries? Let's
go.
We'll start with a big D. You go 921. You kind of go a bit offensive. Mundo, you don't really need to do offensive. Your damage comes from your W, your Q, which both relies on your base, and it comes from your Thorn Mail once you start building it. So I would like to see a 030 or a 121. Your Runes and Masteries, I wouldn't run Armor Pen, I would run Hybrid, or I would run Flat 80, Armor Works, MR. One thing that people are doing is scaling MR and scaling CDR just because you're playing against Irelia. You can get away with it. Okay, for Irelia, pretty normal. Pretty normal.
Now you did?
Nothing. For Lee, okay. You run really heavy CDR. This 10% CDR page. Normally, Lee Sin's only run 5% CDR to have more damage and more MR. It's similar to what I run for my game playing page, so I understand like where you're coming from for your CDR, but you might get punished a bit.
Yeah, that's honestly that is on the excessive side for Lee Sin. Like very. You could have just taken the if you really wanted cooldown reduction, you could have just taken the mastery for 5% CDR and gotten more AD. I mean, it's possible that you won't get punished for it. But I would have definitely. I feel like Lee Sin definitely needs the early game, the extra damage that he gets from his early game ganks. Running straight glyphs CDR is fine actually because their team has virtually no source of magic damage. So at most, if you're ganking mid or top, you're gonna get like a Yasuo E to the face or an Aurelia E. It's not gonna be much damage at all. So running straight CDR on glyphs is perfectly fine. I don't think that you should have ran the CDR Quint in your Quints. That is a bit pushing it.
But there's also the thing you gotta consider with Lee is if you use your abilities too much, you run out of energy. So there's a point where CDR doesn't benefit you anymore. So going on to Vi, our Runes and Masters kind of makes sense.
Wait, did you do Corki and Morgana?
We'll do that in the process.
Okay. Oh, you're going in by lane. Okay.
Yeah. So for Vi, I like to see you run spell weaving or blade weaving, a more team supportive oriented role, because as Vi, you're not going to be doing that much damage. You're there to provide CC to do, I guess, some damage, but you want to help your team do the most.
One thing on that topic is that whenever you take Warlord, the 5% damage increase or 5% bonus AD, the thing with getting bonus attack damage is that that's a very late game oriented build. At that point on Vi, you're not building AD anymore and you're itemizing more defensively. So even though you can say, okay, I'm going to go Warrior, Trinity Force, maybe Black Cleaver Vi, especially since you have so much AD. Actually, instead of Trinity Force, I would almost certainly go Black Cleaver second. I don't know. Trinity Force is crazy strong on Vi, and as long as you stay like somewhat ahead, I definitely say Trinity Force second is perfectly fine. But since your team is going to be lacking severely in the magic department, I think that the Black Cleaver is, in a late game scenario, more important than your Trinity Force power spike. So whenever you understand that after you build those 2 or 3 offensive items, you're building defensively. So bonus AD doesn't really help you that much. I mean, I even sometimes drop points from Warlord on Zed for spell weaving, blade weaving, and Zed literally has a ability that gives him plus 25% AD passively. Like to give you an idea of the worth of that mastery, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Even if you have 300 AD, we're talking 15 AD, as opposed to the flat 3% damage increase that you could be having. It's just not comparable. So we're on mid lane now?
Yes, going to mid lane. I'll take Diana.
I mean, I'll talk
Diana.
about. I play Diana. I have like an 80% win rate on Diana. I just don't play Diana because I'm not an asshole. Out of 2 games, Johnny.
Look, 4 out of 5 games doesn't.
The 24/6 masteries are very not good. First off, I wouldn't go defensively in Diana. I would just go utility. I don't think the 9 points in defense are bad per se, but she definitely could go. She definitely goes a long way with. Actually, no. I take that back. 21-9 on Diana is perfectly fine. Most people go 21-0-9 because of the mana regeneration and the flat mana. What?
See, I would go 21-0-9 if you're running TP, because then your TP is also on the shorter cooldown.
Yes.
Which means that you basically kind of have defensive stats in a way, because you can get back to lane and heal up. Like, it's not exactly defensive stats, but it works in a kind of similar fashion.
The 2 points in the reduced slow is also, that's not a good talent. Don't take it. Even against, and like you're laning against what, a Yasuo. I mean, he doesn't really have a slow to begin with. Their team in general has no slows except Brazilian. I mean, I guess that could be annoying, but it's not worth losing the like, people totally underrate the 1 damage less from champions, or the 2 damage less from champions, and the reduced damage from champions basic attacks. That's extremely underrated. That's like one of the most important, and on every single attack.
And it is applied after your armor, so it's not like, oh, it's even more effective the more armor you have.
So it's not like you whenever since it gets applied after armor, it's not like, oh, yeah, okay, exactly what Randy said. You don't need 24 points in offense. Like, legitimately, take the 3 points out of the increased ability power by 5%. Same thing with AP mids. Like, yeah, it sounds like it's really good. Oh, I get 5% more ability power, but you're missing out on spell weaving. You're missing out on blade weaving. I would just put the 2 points in the cooldown reduction talent, or either take 2 points of the cooldown reduction talent, or take 1 point out of the increased ally champion's damage and put it in spell weaving and blade weaving. Diana Diana is one of the premier champions for weaving spell-based spell abilities and auto attacks. That's basically a flat almost 6% damage increase on her. 3% in each of the respective areas. I don't know if that's additive or multiplicative, but you know what I mean. So 21-0-9 should really be what she's going for, especially with that teleport, like Randy was saying. For runes, you should absolutely be running Scaling CDR. Scaling CDR is the best glyph in the game right now for AP mids especially. You don't...
But if you're going Stinger, then you can go Lucidity, and then... I don't agree against Yasuo, since you don't need them like that badly, but if you are against a heavy AP mid, then I can see if you get the CDR boots and Stinger, then you have still have 40%.
You could do that, but on Diana, she is one of the best champions for building Abyssal Scepter on. You don't, like, since you're growing Flask, 3 health potions, and you're running Teleport, you really shouldn't be worried about getting harassed out of lane, and that's really what the 12 magic resist would be giving you. In this situation, if you were really getting poked down that hard, you could go Abyssal Scepter, or you can just like go the scaling cooldown reduction, get the flat 15 magic penetration on Diana. Any champion with high base values, magic penetration is freaking huge. The higher your base damage, the more effective magic penetration is, and getting that on Diana is really, really, really big. The Quints are fine. Armor's good. What you could also do if you're really worried about losing lane, you can go you can go health yellows or flat health yellows, and then go armor blues. Like, even that would be better than going 1.3 magic resist against Yasuo. The only thing to watch out for...
You're playing...
Especially if you look at the
ahead.
enemy team, their magic damage is Zillion. That's basic,
Yeah.
and it's a port Zillion. So they have almost no magic damage, so I would say that that's definitely not worth it.
The only thing that you have to watch out for when you run no magic resist against Yasuo is that he will be maxing E first, so he's going to do 50... scaling up to 300 damage of magic damage on his E's. That the base damage gets doubled every time he E's, so you can actually lose level 1 trades really hard against Yasuo. But in this matchup specifically, what Diana should be looking to do is starting W if Yasuo starts E, and every time Yasuo E's in on her, she just presses W and out trades Yasuo significantly. So starting E doesn't even like matter for Diana. If he starts Q, Diana can start Q as well, and she can just out-poke him with her Qs. So this matchup is actually very good for Diana. It's not bad at all. She can go even at level 1, and she can straight up win at level 6. For runes and masteries going on to Yasuo, standard 21-9, I would drop the point in the attack speed. Just run 3 out of 4 on the attack speed mastery. Get the increased damage to minions and feast, and then spell weaving and blade weaving. Because you wouldn't think so, but since Q counts as a basic attack, the mastery that increases basic attacks by 3% actually increases the damage to Steel Tempest by 3%, which is pretty huge considering they have a flat nerf on it for a reason. Going 3 points, 3 or 4 in the attack speed mastery, and then since he's also running, okay, he's running attack speed Quince. Yeah, so there's really not a loss at all by going 3 or 4 in the attack speed mastery. And then you get the sustain from Feast, and spell weaving, blade weaving are fantastic on Yasuo. Defense tree's fine. He's running 9 AD. I would put 1 crit mark in there just because you get 2% crit for it, and running 1 crit on any
What are we
champion
talking
pretty
about
much.
right
Yasuo. Running
Yes, okay.
1 crit rune on pretty much any champion that auto attacks is fantastic. You could go, the 9 armor is fine. I would go flat health personally. He has some pretty big health nerfs, and you're not going to take that much auto attack damage from Diana. Flat magic resist glyphs, that's good because I would go scaling because you're not that much threat from Diana early on in terms of harass, and then the attack speed points are perfectly fine. In a lane like this, it's actually better because since Diana's not going to be in a position to harass you very much, you don't need the lifesteal cleanse, which is the other thing that I would recommend.
Alright, moving on to bot lane. Let's see if we can get to this. Corki, you need attack speed, and similarly, you don't really want to run Warlord because you're Corki. You don't do that much AD. Your build path isn't very AD focused, so you don't benefit as much. Go Blade Weaving, Expose Weakness, help your team do more damage, and so on. For Morgana, 2109, you don't do damage as support Morgana. Your purpose is to provide utility through your Q and your E and your ult as well. You want to go 921, look up pro builds, your runes, others are fine.
People go 9021 on Morgana.
9021?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also alternative path if you believe you can get away with the lane pressure.
Oh, wow,
Going
there's-
bot lane, that's a level 2 power spike. You gotta make sure you watch your EXP correctly, especially as a bot lane, as a support main. Make sure that if the enemy team pushes a bit further away from you, make sure that you can time the amount of creeps that have died, especially if it's Zillion gives you more EXP with his new really weird passive.
It's not new yet. Like, it's the same passive right now.
Oh, so same passive?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's in preseason.
No, it's updated right now.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Click on Zillion. He has, the time in the
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, you're right. Okay, I was wrong.
So, going back to Morg, pretty much is build utility for your team, not damage, because you don't build AP. And if you build AP, I'm gonna hit you. So anyway, going mid lane, it's a good gank. That should be
Dion,
first blood.
can you get the last auto? Oh, and,
Is that the god? Oh shit! Okay,
that
that
was
was
pretty
like I
good.
was about to comment on the straight up Yasuo syndrome where he like E'd Lee Sin and went straight into the fight, but holy hell, that was hot. That was a very cute.
If he kept on walking away, I mean, Diana would have just like straight up died to the turret.
Yeah.
Like,
But, okay, one thing I wanted to say about top lane is, for one, as Mundo, you should not have started Booth. Like, that's completely useless against Irelia for the most part. And for two, if you can be safe about it and you can kind of like get early into their jungle, Mundo can take red at level 1 very quickly and then teleport back. So, like, that can be it's very easy to do that as Mundo. Dude, it works. And then, like, I'm saying be safe about it, so, like, literally, like, go towards, like, be at red and then, like, thwart their race push, so, like, you make sure that you can't get punished for it. But at the very least, I would say Mundo, you should definitely take a camp on level 1.
One thing that I would point out on the Yasuo TP mid, I would not have TP'd there. It was a cannon wave. The wave was, actually, never mind, the wave was pushing against him, but since it was a cannon wave, he probably could have walked back. The ideal situation is when the cannon wave is when the wave is on their side pushing toward you, and then
So close.
yeah, that was very close. When the wave is pushing toward you, because the wave is on their side, so if the cannon wave had been like right here, that would have been like I would have actually been upset if Yasuo had teleported in. But yeah. You did notice that Yasuo was trading really, really aggressively with Diana.
Oh, Lee Sin's
very
coming
smart
for
of
the
him.
counter. No, unfortunately.
Yeah, good dive or good gank bot top lane. Gotta recognize also is Mundo. You just pop a pot if you're running like that.
Oh, can you get it?
Oh, is it gonna be an overdive? It's
Oh, no!
an
Oh,
overdive.
back up!
And Lee gets
And all the minions!
Oh,
The minions!
kill.
Oh my gosh, that was
Here's the thing
Mistakes
you
were
gotta
made, man.
You
I
guys
mean, that just ended up being
overcommit.
such
You
a
don't
good.
go to the limit of your champion pool. So just like the last game we had, the silver bronze game, they didn't know the damage, so they played overly safe. You guys don't know the damage, so you guys play overly aggressive.
Like, so,
You
I
just
mean,
kinda
the thing was there is
throw.
that I was going to comment that Lee Sin was being way too aggressive with his trading with Vi. Like, he honestly should not have been trading there because if Aurelia had been inclined, they could have just straight up killed him there. But since Aurelia was, like, further back from the wave and wasn't really there with Vi, Lee Sin basically baited them into a turret dive that got both of them killed. You gotta respect the minion damage. You have to, like, even if you feel that someone's doing something, I make this mistake all the time. You feel like someone's doing something really dumb and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna punish this idiot. But then you end up doing something stupid because, like, you didn't respect, you disrespected them so much that you make a mistake, and that's exactly what happened there. Very good on Lee to land the Q and like connect it when he realized, and he also had a very good safeguard on himself, which actually is what stopped Vi's damage from being fatal.
Good binding on Morgana.
A lot of damage.
If she ignited there and Corky followed up, that was gonna be a kill.
That would have been a kill, like one auto attack and ignite.
I don't know. Does he still has heal though?
It
So
would have been
could've-
able to burst through the heal as well if he ignited
Yeah,
properly.
the heal wouldn't have done anything.
The right autos.
Okay, I'm not
anyway.
completely sure about this Yasuo, Khalil, because you're like the Yasuo dude, but even against somebody like Diana, you should still be maxing E, right? Not Q?
You should be maxing. I mean, okay, so the thing is that if you can get away in lane with not having the mobility, you can just max Q against Diana and just poke her across the wave. But it is going to hurt your mobility in team fights.
I mean, I think they should have definitely like prioritized one champion more than anything else, because what happened was Lee kind of went for the backline there because he saw like targets that were low on health. But honestly, I don't think that
If they just went on Yasuo, they would have killed him.
Yeah, because that is a level 5 Yasuo, a level 7 Yasuo, but he only has Avarice Blade.
Yeah,
He's not
there's no massive damage spike that's going to be coming from him.
Oh, because we completely forgot about this. For bot lane, for Guns N' Roses, I like to see you run more attack speed because you're running Caitlyn, so don't run to 80 Quint. And for Tansuke, run more utility focus because you're Zillion. You don't really need to take damage, but I don't know, you like taking damage at this point, but just run more utility.
Back on the topic of maxing Q on Yasuo, it's going to hurt him. Oh, Tansuke!
And that was such a good binding out of Morgana right there.
But
also, Zillion underestimated the range, or overestimated the range of the tower.
Yeah. If you max Q on Yasuo, it's good in melee matchups. So like if you're laning against Fizz, actually Fizz is a little questionable, but it's good to be able to max Q because you get a bunch of harass over the wave. The issue is that it inhibits your mobility a lot, so escaping ganks and then also how quickly you can jump on targets in team fights hurts a lot. I personally, in most situations, would not max E or max Q ever, even in that situation, because it's only 20 damage. But it's not awful. It's like, you notice whenever Diana goes up to CS, she gets Q'd by Yasuo. You get an extra 20 damage. I feel like the mobility is more important, like Randy was suggesting, but it's not awful.
I mean, also, I want to say down there in bot when Guns N' Roses died, that was a really good play by Lee Sin to come in and punish the Caitlyn for pushing up in the lane, even though it was just him by himself. And from what I was looking at, like, he did not have a ward to save him there, so honestly, I don't really agree with how far up he played there aggressively into that Morgana.
One thing that I want to point out is the massive, not only CS God, that's a big elo difference, actually, so that makes sense.
Yeah, the 81 to 37? What is
Gold
it?
3 to Plat 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of the problem there is that when Yasuo gets ahead of Diana, it can feel really oppressive, but Dianas tend to not realize that they still have a decent amount of kill pressure over him. The problem that ended up happening is that Diana tried to roam bot after Yasuo had already, like, basically been there, and Diana ended up missing a wave and a half because of it. Those sort of decisions can completely lose you your lane. If Diana had been equal levels with Yasuo, then she wouldn't have had this awkward situation where Yasuo is up a level and has double the CS because Diana gets to this point where she's afraid to trade with him. Right now, what Diana should be doing is landing a Q on Yasuo when he has to break his passive, waiting until his passive is down and Q's up again, Qing him, R'ing him, pressing W, and walking away. Diana actually can out-trade Yasuo right now because he doesn't have Shiv, but I don't think Diana knows this.
Another thing just about what Diana should work on is her CSing under the tower has been quite bad. Like, she's just been, like, misjudging the tower's damage, so she doesn't get a lot of last hits. Like, that one, it would have been hard to get either way, but a lot of the time she's just, like, missing almost all of the CS under the tower because she's not prepping it, right?
That's, like, stereotypically a big problem with Diana players, is that they don't CS under turret very well, and I think it's not even just the trading that Anarchist is doing, but it's the fact that Diana's not very good at CSing under turret. And if Lee Sin were more cognizant of the fact, that is a very zealous
wow,
dive.
he followed in really late on that.
Okay.
Well, that didn't work out as well as you probably thought it would.
One thing that Lee should be paying attention to is that since Yasuo is just shoving her in a turret to make her miss CS, he should just be ganking Yasuo over and over again. Yasuo Diana is a very easy gank. You basically walk in a lane, Dragon's Red Yasuo, and Diana deletes him. Even with the level advantage that Yasuo has, which is just 1 right now, that Fiendish Codex gives Diana as much utility as Yasuo's Zeal Avarice Blade. But now he has Static Shiv, so things got a lot more complicated.
So I want to talk about that gank from Lee Sin up top lane against Irelia. Honestly, it would have been much better for him to come up the river than through that tri-bush, due to the fact that when he came up and around the tri-bush to go, Irelia immediately had a form of escape, because before that point, there were no minions for Irelia to actually dash away from, and so she probably would have been caught to a certain degree. But oh, is he gonna insect?
That was an excellent
that would have been
stun.
nice. I don't know how I feel about that flash right there. And that was a really good counter gank
well
there.
played by Aurelia. That was actually played perfectly. That's hella respect right there. Man, that was LCS too.
Overall, as Lee Sin, you should never be in that scenario where like Aurelia can escape from you. Just kick her away. You have your ult.
The problem is that he was going in to do an insect play, and he shouldn't have. Oh, beforehand, yeah.
No, before that, like the first thing he did was come up through try, and then try to like get the Aurelia from behind and kick her towards the Mundo. But Aurelia dashed to him and got past, and you can see
because he didn't buff her Q.
Oh, is Anarchist actually gonna get this? And he will.
He's gonna get this.
Oh, he's going really deep here.
Diana's gonna be able to get a reset off this.
This Lee should try to focus more on catching up and getting back in form than ganking.
Yeah, this is the problem that we're seeing with Lee Sin is the same problem that Jiminy Cricket was running into last game, is that junglers spend so much time ganking and they start like accumulating leads, and they seem to think that they can forget to farm the jungles. Like that's a really big problem. Just the fact that you're getting a lead and you're like shitting on lanes in the enemy jungler. At that point, you need to be like, hey, you know what? I should take more of their jungle. I should farm more because, like, you've earned that. They're trying to generate some pressure.
If you get a gank, you lane pack, so you get EXP and stay
That's
relevant.
also fine. But when you're playing Lee Sin, you need to be spending a lot of time in the enemy laner's jungle. Like, that's one of the problems that Lee Sin's run into at low elos. Like, I have tried for years to get my Lee Sin win rate positive, and I mean, it's hard. I think I'm sitting at like a 46-47% win rate, and I mean, I've won the past, like, several games, and that really has to do with understanding that with Lee Sin, you should be in the other jungler's jungle. You should be being a dick.
Okay, here's an example of a good TP. You use it to prevent a gank. You didn't get a kill, but you prevented your Aurelia from dying.
Right. I mean, honestly, I would have liked it more if it was visible beforehand. If you saw it before, saw the roam from Diana beforehand, because there are wards sitting there in that bush, and he actually like just went ahead and just TP'd because then Aurelia wouldn't have to lose that summoner. Maybe they could have like actually just completely concaved in on them right in that river fight.
Good decision by blue team to go and do Dragon. I feel like Morgana should have been there. The issue is that Lee Sin has low on level.
Dragon.
I mean,
when they that panic smite right there.
Okay, as Lee Sin, one thing that you should do, especially since I was coming from river, you saw her the entire time. You can just kick her out.
I mean,
like, you had your ult up, you could have kicked her whenever, like, before she could have gone in, and she would have had, like, she didn't have flash, so she still could have ulted to get back in, but if you timed it right, you could do it before you, by the time she actually gets in range, this dragon is already dead.
That would have been such a good decision to do Dragon, since Cyanide did have teleport, but I think there was a communication error there. Like, when you see Yasuo teleport top to stop Aurelia from getting ganked, Mundo and Diana are top, Aurelia and Yasuo are top, Yasuo has no teleport, but Diana does. At that point, Diana should just ran a turret, teleported, went back, teleported to Dragon with her team, and done Dragon, because they have a numbers advantage at that point.
Then another thing... Oh, sorry, okay, but another thing is that whenever Lee Sin was starting Dragon, there was a Caitlyn trap right in front of the Dragon pit, and he like avoided it first, but then he hit the Q on the Dragon, and he Q'd over the Caitlyn trap and got snared, and they got vision and knew that they were doing Dragon, which that was just not a very smart play.
And even without the Diana TP, like, they still should have been gotten that Dragon. Like, Morgana wasn't even there when she should have been. If they had just rotated together, they would have been fine.
Right now.
This Corki's doing the Mog layout. Oh, good flash.
Oh my god. A lot of damage is coming from a 2-item Corki
you gotta
right
recognize, although you've been shitting on Corki in lane, he has once he has Sheen And not even Triforce, only that sheet, you can start out-trading you for the next 5 levels or so.
That was a little bit over-aggressive from Tensuke there. Might get punished over there. Are they going to block it? No, they're going to block. I think they're definitely going to get that. Oh, that's
a TP in from Aurelia. That should be a good cleanup.
That's a good
one
trade
kill.
back.
That could be 2 kills.
I mean, I don't think they're going to get this
These
lead,
are
to be
examples
honest.
of good TPs. They see pressure on the map and they respond to it.
It's not TPing properly. Mundo, he's platform. He should know better. In that scenario where you see the enemy getting TP'd on, you TP immediately.
Like now, Mundo's rotating mid to stop the push. This is a good thing. A lot of top laners would just like. Actually, never mind. No, it's not. That turret's way too low.
Yeah,
Mundo should have straight up just stayed top lane and farmed it up. And gotten pressure on top turret. Now he might die.
No, he popped it. He popped his ultish. I think it should work out.
One thing that's very small is that Tansuke, actually what most people do on Zillion nowadays, as support Zillion, is you, after you get to level 5, and you have like 3 points in your queue, then you start maxing E. So you don't actually get 5 points in your queue, you max E after level 5.
It's like, once you get out of laning phase, you don't really need the Q. You need to get Q for CC.
Oh, that's... Corki got really close to getting cut right there. Yeah, I can see the idea why Tensuke would go for the Zillion pick at this point, because the double bomb, like, CC is pretty strong because you have the ability to get multiple CC locks in at once on multiple people, while Morgana has the ability, can only, like, really just prevent one person from getting CC. So it does allow for a variety of targets when you do actually like hit the bombs properly. So I mean, right now Red Team's got a pretty decent lead, 6k gold. They've got 2 turrets now. Honestly, what I would like to see coming from them, since Dragon, what is Dragon timer? It shouldn't be. Dragon won't be up anytime soon. What I would really like to see is them to start warding up blue side's top jungle and start just putting some pressure on that top turret and just bring it down. Because as of right now, there's really no huge risk of losing a major objective from this. Since their 2 waves are pushing.
I mean, honestly, at this point, Blue Team just needs to slow the game down. They're down almost 6k gold in 18 minutes. The game isn't unsalvageable, but they need to respect the amount of damage that Red Team is putting out. Like, that is a big Vi. Yasuo and Vi are the biggest people on their team, and that is actually what makes their comp function.
They're going in for Corki, and I think they're gonna get this one for
Irelia
sure.
is also huge.
Oh man, yep. He's got one more right there. Are they gonna? Yeah, they're definitely gonna continue this dive. They have the damage. That Aurelia has got quite some health on her.
I mean, it
I'm at
ultimately came back
1909.
to Irelia had the TP, and Muna didn't answer, and the game just swung over there. It was already pretty much in Red Team's favor. The game swung completely in Red Team's favor once they did it.
Honestly,
it's
I feel
all about, this game is all about good teleports at this point.
I mean, I can actually chalk up every single disadvantage that Red Team is suffering right now to very, very small mistakes. So in top lane, that was a pretty big mistake, but Lee Sin and or actually no. Lee Sin getting
Blue Team got it.
Lee Sin getting that double kill in top lane whenever Vi and Aurelia dove to her, that you would think that would have given them a big enough advantage to have made a difference. But the issue is that Lee Sin just wasn't farming his jungle. He wasn't farming his jungle. He fell behind in levels, and that gave Vi a lot of pressure over him.
He actually has the biggest gold deficit on his for each lane.
He's down 31 CS. Diana rotating bot lane instead of staying mid lane when Yasuo's already down there ganking. That put her 2 levels behind Yasuo, and that gave him a really big advantage with the level 6 power spike, and she wasn't able to recover from it. And bot lane didn't make like anything. I mean, it's probably because I have less experience in bot lane, but just from the fact that they weren't that mid lane, jungle, and top lane had gotten so far ahead, bot lane started falling behind by virtue.
Teleport's coming in, and Mundo.
Yeah, that's not a good teleport.
That was Yasuo. If Yasuo actually TP'd there, he wouldn't have done anything. But Blue Team thought that was a threat, and he backed away from it.
My spectator showed me that was a red side TP.
He would have died too.
Yeah, no, that was Yasuo.
Oh, it was Yasuo's TP, my bad.
Oh yeah, it was. Okay.
And Thunder Rose
Caitlyn might get caught out right here.
That's gonna be a
go. Yeah, that's a little bit. That's overextending quite a bit right there, unfortunately.
And also
when your
backing
team
on the ward.
Yeah, when your team's really backing off towards towards Dragon and anything of that sort, and the line pushes back, honestly, really not safe to be able to just stick around there with the amount of coverage that blue team is putting out defensively. Well,
So
honestly,
this dragon right now is pretty sketch on red team. Like Aurelia's TP is almost up, but it isn't up. If blue team goes in to fight this, like
No, it'll be up.
Actually, blue team is quite low though.
yeah, both.
yeah, but I mean both of them are. This is not. It's not safe, honestly.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate.
Yeah, but that.
And
If honestly at that point when you see that happen,
extremely late TP.
If blue team had
Mundo,
gone
you
in
have
together,
Thornmail.
they would have been fine. Mundo should have teleported in, ran into the middle of their team, and then his team could have dealt the damage that was necessary to kill them. Like the amount of damage
Mundo
to
at this stage, he has 280 armor and 2100 health, and he has his ult up. So he could have gotten killed by Zillion. It provides enough damage for most of the team to focus him, and
Zillion
they might
has
win that fight.
Zillion
If
has
Zillion had Ignite,
5 AP.
yeah. Honestly,
So
His
I mean, he's not.
really just a utility at this point here.
Yasuo, please.
Ooh, he's gonna take some punishment here. The ignite goes on him, and no.
Oh,
Looking
a little late on the
if Rally
dragon
gets a trade
range.
here, it's not too bad, but that 2 for 1. I don't know 100% if it's worth. Oh, if he gets away, it might no. Can he flash burn?
no!
Can he dodge the Q? Oh no, the Q misses.
oh man, well played by Aurelia.
Really? That's unfortunate. Oh, I'm at 22-4.
So
I just
going
hit
mid
him.
lane, that's a TP used to save a turret. So what I've seen, blue team has had 0 impactful TPs, and red team has pretty much most of their TPs have been impactful. So here's the thing, you see, Vi and they can't kill Mundo, they just run away from him. At the point, they do negative damage to him.
I won't be too good. Honestly, what I want to see from Mundo here is the fact that like he did get the first tower down top lane, and at this point he already had his Sunfire cape, and he was approaching the second item. What would really be beneficial for blue team is I just want to see Mundo use that teleport to his advantage and just become this oppressive force around the map. Because all he has to do is just clear the wave out, and naturally it's going to stack forward and push really far into red team's tier 2. And so Mundo is like this big wall, and on top of with his itemization and his abilities, he's very good at just stonewalling a siege and can clear waves relatively quickly. In terms of if he was partnered up with, like, let's say Diana or Corki, both of them have very good wave clear. And so what I really want to see is instead of this Mundo just sitting up here farming and just like keeping that wave frozen, I want to see him go around the map and just put pressure on it. Because right now he's just ending up going into trades against Aurelia, which honestly is not working out terribly too well for him in the long run.
He's also behind to the point where I really can't solo him in a 1v1.
That is true.
So
Yeah.
ultimately, Randy, how do you see blue team coming back from this deficit?
Honestly, I think the red team is great. Because the problem is, like, they have Lee Sin, Corky late game, which is not fantastic, and then they really just don't have. Pretty much, they have no way to deal with Irelia in team fights, especially in Irelia that is also boosted by Zillion. By Zillion. Because even if she could find it, it's Irelia, and the Morgana 3-year duration is only like 1.5 years.
So rephrase this: how does red team throw this game?
Oh, you got his blue team throw the game. Oh, red team, my bad. I'm an idiot.
Okay, basically red team throws by either extremely overcommitting in a dive. Basically, they either throw by getting picks or something like a Baron throw where they just YOLO Baron and they don't sweep it, and then they don't have a way to deal with Mundo in that fight. So, I mean, maybe it happens right here.
There is a Baron attempt starting up.
The win condition for blue team is that Diana needs to hit a point at which she can 100 0 Yasuo, or at least take Yasuo out of the fight, and Mundo has to be able to stand in front of the enemy team.
Oh, this is a bit ambitious here.
Yasuo should go die to Baron now. Yasuo needs to die to Baron. Yasuo really needs to die to Baron. Okay, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good.
Oh, so close. Oh, he does get the Q!
Is that Chris
Blue team's
Kyle?
coming in. They secure both kills? Oh, man. That could have been something right there.
That was almost really bad. But
that could have been bad, but unfortunately there weren't enough blue team members there to follow up, and it just became a lot of 1v2s, 2v3s.
that right there.
Mundo also had his ult.
Wait,
No.
he did an ult.
Oh,
He
boy.
did an ult.
That was very bad by him.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, especially considering the red team has no. Okay, they had two. It looks like they did have Ignite from Tensuke, so maybe Mundo was waiting for Ignite to fall off. But I still don't think that would have been worth it. I think if he had just ulted, he would have been fine. Yeah. That could have been a huge Baron throw. Like, I understand that what they wanted to do is have Yasuo die to Baron with Zillion ult on, so his health would have gotten refreshed. But the issue with that is that. Yeah, and his passive was also still up, and so that's what stopped Baron from killing him, actually.
Terrible timing, unfortunately.
Oh my
gosh,
goodness. She's dead.
She's gone.
Oh,
no, the Corki B sacrificed himself, but he lives! Lee Sin safeguard.
They just juggled that damage so well, but Caitlyn is doing an impressive amount of damage.
She's going aggressive, and she does at least get one to answer for her efforts.
She can continue to push on this.
I mean, honestly, they should probably just siege mid right now.
I mean, the unfortunate part about that is that Caitlyn was so far extended that she should have died for that, but blue team shuffled in so slowly behind each other that they didn't really get anything off of it. Mundo can actually kill Yasuo here.
Yeah,
I understand he's scared and like they're pretty far behind, but Mundo needs to assert himself. Like Mundo needs to understand, hey, I'm Mundo. I have
I can go where I please.
He only has 2.6k health, but he has 330 armor. And this man builds a Warmogs. Like, so quick math lesson. Every 100 armor that you get, you need 1,000 health. So at this point, Mundo is lacking in the health department because armor gives you effective health. Oh, this is
Oh yeah, that's
especially like about this is that
the final stand
if you look at it,
blue.
Yasuo has his ult, and Rai has Black Cleaver and her W. So like,
and that's gonna be game for red team.
I actually think they'll be able to hold it off as long as Mundo doesn't overextend.
He just needs to get in the waves and to help push it back. He needs to not let Lee Sin get completely engaged on by Aurelia.
This could have been game for red team. I didn't see Caitlyn back away. If Caitlyn stayed with the team, that would have been game. At this point, they're just going for kills. They're far ahead to do whatever the hell they want. Might be a miner's throw.
I mean, they're still getting
get one or two kills. No, he gets one kill. Dodge the Q. Nope, Vi is dead. Irelia, can you pull off the miracle? Well, you escaped already. Caitlyn's here. I would like to see Caitlyn.
Caitlyn is just going to town with these crits.
Irelia ahead. Good dodges. I need to help. I really had to help Mundo there, because like once Mundo dies, Moore can't do anything. And